everyone.
Hello,
Here we
guys.
are. Hi, Anane and Amit and Karen. Anane, I think you're muted.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, pleased to meet you all.
Nice to meet
you.
you.
We met last year on the same conference.
That's right, we did too.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So, Anane,
That's
kick us
awesome.
off.
So if you join in, okay, so if you join in, welcome to the last day that's dedicated to startups around the world. And we are grateful to be joined by great mentors, investors, and industry experts when it comes to startups from around the world. Madam Paula, would you like to kindly introduce our panel members to the audience?
Oh, yes. I have been studying you three as much as I can, and I'm really excited and very honored to welcome all three of you to this panel. You mean amazing people. And I'll just start with the ladies. So, Karen, Dr. Karen Miller, welcome.
Hi.
And I mean, amazing. What you bring to the table is I believe you're a powerful listener just from reading your bio, and you bring empathy and decades of solid experience in all parts of business, from startup to really high level, all the way. So you offer valuable insights and recommendations to help organizations navigate complex challenges, drive innovation, and shape their brand's future trajectory. Sorry, English is not my first language, but I'm pretty
That's
good.
fine.
So you're guiding leading growth. You bring 30 plus years of experience. I wouldn't have thought so because you look a lot younger.
Oh, thank
To
you.
inspire success in organizations, from young to older organizations, guiding through transformative change to evolve the business, brand, and the market relevant. So this is very valuable for any startup to have such extent of knowledge. You blend scientific rigor with practical acumen, and you're known for your empathy-led approach. And I like this one a lot. Sometimes it's lacking a bit. You mentor teams in innovation, enabling success in new product development and digital transformation. And you have been authoring 42 publications. That's amazing. So, welcome, Karen. I mean, what an amazing asset for any startup here in this place where they get to learn from you, be listened by you. So, welcome here.
Thank you.
Let's jump over to Chris. Hello, Chris, and thank you. You are a man of peace and service. That's what my little put together from all of your experience that I put. You're a celebrated transformation strategist, startup advisor, and inspirational speaker, the managing director of Responsible Solutions Limited. You have collaborated with a lot of people, especially also with a Fortune 100 C-level peers of yours, and that's amazing. You're global entrepreneur in residence for the Founder Institute. Now, that is huge value for anybody who's here today. It's a world's leading pre-seed startup accelerator, and you have significantly shaped the trajectory of startups worldwide, and you continue to do so today and every day. You have been distinguished as a top startup mentor across 5 continents. You have lectured in entrepreneurship at both undergraduate and graduate levels, and your approach resonates authenticity and innovation, both which are absolutely crucial in this startup world. And last but not least, recognized as a World Peace Ambassador by Klaus Nobel from the Nobel Prize family. That is amazing. So thank you for being here and bringing all your knowledge and your presence here.
I'm so honored to be here. Paula, thank you so much for the introduction. Really excited about today. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And we go over to Amit Grover. Thank you so much for being here. You are an advisor, mentor, founder, and a disruptor. All those components that we want in this startup world. And a proud Kiwi. There
Yep.
we go.
New Zealand.
Yes, we're glad to have you here. You're the founding partner and CEO of Grover Impact Ventures. You have over 22 years of professional entrepreneurial experience in international business organization strategy and brand marketing with various corporations across the globe. And you have very successfully been able to grow your business from humble beginnings in Wellington to expand into Auckland, Sydney, Dubai, London. And you have become the top level understanding in Asia, Oceania, Europe, and the Middle East in all those businesses. And what a valuable asset you are to any startup who's here today to have them listen, you listen to them and give any advice.
I think what you missed out is I also run 3 venture capital funds in Europe, Singapore, and the Middle East. And I'm also a mentor with the Founders Institute. If you check my LinkedIn there, but I don't get so much time to mentor anyone. And I sit on the boards of multiple organizations, including the ANZ Bank. For those who come from Australia and New Zealand, it's one of the largest banks in that part of the world. I sit on one of the boards of ANZ Banks. So yeah, I mean, both Fortune 500 and early stage experience. But the VC part, I think, got missed out because I'm not very active on LinkedIn. So
Yes. Well, I'm glad that you extended your own bio right now here because that's very valuable. You are here kind of as a mentor role right now. So we're very glad and grateful that you're here.
Great.
So thanks everyone who's here. And now, Anane, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. And the startups are also ready based on the confirmation I just received. And our first startup is iTechGenic. Yeah, so they'll be joining us to present what they are working on and the projects, the progress they've made and everything. Okay.
So Ananya, I just have a question before you kind of jump in.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
do we rate the startups? Is there a form that you send us to rate the startups? How does that work?
Okay. So for now, I'll communicate with you directly.
Okay.
Then I get that feedback.
Okay.
But apart from that, we can use Boca since they are live. They can, if there are certain shortfalls within what they are doing, you can advise them. And
Okay.
if there's any direction that they need, maybe you can guide them as well.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So Paula, you'll be taking off as the startups will be joining. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So
Hi Anane.
we
Hi
have
Amit. Hi Karen. Hi
Hi.
Chris.
Hi.
Hi,
welcome.
Ananya, Amit, Karen, Chris, and Aninda.
Hi.
Hopefully all of you can see me. It's a network. It's a digital world. Network is sometimes very slow, so there will be lag.
Okay.
We see you.
Yep, Aninda, you're visible.
Okay. So without wasting much time, iTechGenic, what do you have for us today?
Hi, thanks for the opportunity, guys.
Perfect.
Tushar, I'm based in
So
Singapore.
should I start presenting?
Yeah, proceed.
Yeah, go ahead, Aninda. Go ahead. Yeah. Aninda, there's a lag, or are you trying to do something? Because it's
Yeah, it's coming live.
okay. Yeah. So guys, I'm based in Singapore, and Aninda's based in Calcutta, India. And Aninda's also my co-founder, and he was the one that actually founded the problems and from a technology side has developed the solution. So Aninda will lead the presentation, and I'll support as and when necessary. So you'll be hearing Aninda for most of the part of the presentation. Over to you, Aninda.
Sure. Thank you, Tushar, for the introduction. Sure. Am I audible properly?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Aninda.
Perfect.
You're
Yeah, because
audible.
I
When
know it's
we
okay.
can
Cool.
see you.
So the product that, sure. So we have developed a product called Dev Boost. It is a engineering intelligence platform for engineering managers, CTOs, the director of engineering. This is our end user of the product. And the main goal of this product is, how do I provide visibility to the engineering leadership team of what is happening across their delivery, across their process, across their quality of software, right? All these things in a way so that they can make decisions in a faster and effective way. So I'll start with our problem statement, right? So to start with this, I was working as an engineering manager for Accenture in Sydney. So for the last 7 years, I was in Australia. So when I saw Karen, I was in Adelaide also a few times, right? Did my master's at UNSW. Probably you have visited there also. So this is the problem that I faced while managing Combank, NZ Bank, right? Telstra, a lot of startups, right? So the problem that I saw as a person is, when you are managing software development teams, these teams use disparate tools, your project management tools such as Jira, Azure, GitHub, GitLab, CI/CD platform, multiple software development tools that these teams use. And different data is sitting across multiple systems and they don't talk to each other. So as an engineering manager, whose role was to ensure that the quality, delivery, and the process is on track, I have to manually pull different data from different tools, put in an Excel sheet every day, and then try to manually analyze all these data to find out the problem that are sitting in the software development lifecycle. And that was extremely tedious, right? And the issue was, by the time the problem is found out, the problem has already happened, right? So this would cause delay in your release. This would cause problem in your process. And we have always seen in our software development lifecycle that when people are developing feature and they're about to release, people say, I'm so busy, right? I'm in a firefighting and all these excuses. But the issue is not there. The issue is in all these granular details, from a process perspective, from a quality perspective. How can I help those things, get those information before it goes to production? Because you don't want a feature after it goes into the hand.
Maybe Tushar, you can take over.
Yeah, I think it would be great if you shall take over. Your mic is on mute right now.
So sorry, guys. I think there's some technical issue. I actually support on the business side of things. Aninda does the presentation. Let me just quickly call him and understand what actually happened, because it seems like he's dropped off. So just give us a minute.
If you're on
or
the
so.
business side, Tushar, do you not have the presentation? Generally, the business side is where I'd expect us to come from more than the technical side.
Yeah, I do. But there's a new presentation that has just been developed, and Aninda's the one that's working on it. Just give me a second, Chris. I'm sorry. 1 second.
Got it. Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. And I respect that. But just realize in the real world, you'd be dead because of this. So you have to coordinate this stuff offline, and it needs to be your biz dev person doing this, and then your technical person needs to be brought into it. That's just my opinion, but they say my opinion matters. So
I completely agree with you, Chris. This is a huge red flag. If you're sitting in front of VCs like myself, mate, there's no way in hell this is going forward. As a co-founder, doesn't matter what to do in the business. Every co-founder has to have a reasonable amount of insight in what the business is, so that if one falls through, the other can take over from there on. In the real world, if you're a bunch of co-founders, anything can happen to anybody. What happens to our investment? So that's not good enough saying that one element goes away and the business falls through the cracks. So just a suggestion that you need to be as prepared as your co-founder in every aspect of presenting to VCs.
Thanks, Chris and Amit. Completely hear what you're saying and spot on. And just give us the minute that we need, and we will end this within the time allocated to us, right? So
Understood.
my apologies. Yeah,
Understood.
Thank you.
Sorry, I got dropped for
Yeah.
some reason. There was a network issue. But anyway, let me start sharing. Where you could hear the last point when I was presenting.
Yes.
We're talking about the problem statements.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our advice, since your network is not that strong, it would be best if you turn off the video, then use your voice, then you present the screen.
Yeah. Is the screen also visible, right?
Your screen is visible. Yeah, if you perhaps turn off your camera and use your
that will be
voice,
better. Yeah,
it will save bandwidth.
Exactly. Stop cam. Okay, cool. Okay, so I was talking about the problem statement, which was the visibility problem that is happening because of the disparate tools used by software engineering teams, right? These ultimately causes delays in the release, in the process, quality, right? Because everything is in different tools and the data doesn't talk to each other. So every time you have to manually analyze those data by bringing those data in an Excel sheet and try to find out the issues that are sitting in your software development, right? And by the time you actually understand the issues, the problem has already happened. So our goal as DevBoost is, how do I provide that visibility in real time to the engineering leadership team so that they can make decision faster, which will ultimately impact their bottom line, right? So that's where DevBoost is coming into picture, which is addressing those problems in four-pronged approach. First is project execution transparency. So we are a SaaS platform that integrates with all the tools that are used by software engineering teams. Your Jira, your GitHub, your CI/CD, right? All the tools. But we do not replace those tools. We sit like a layer on the top of this tool, right? And we pull all the different data into our tool set, into our data lake, right? And then we analyze the data, and then we provide you all the real-time insights in terms of your quality of delivery, in terms of your data hygiene, in terms of your team dynamics, in terms of your delivery, everything in real time. So instead of going through multiple logins every day, you can get every information just in one dashboard. So that is the first part of our solution, which is transparency and data aggregation. The second part of our solution is forecasting. This is our key USP. So what we are doing here is, if you look into this architecture, right, we are taking different signals from your project management tool, from your code management tool, from your CI/CD platform, right? And then we are doing correlation, right? How does the data point from Jira correlate back to a GitHub, correlate back to the build of Jenkins? That's what we are doing, right? And then on the top, we are using machine learning algorithm, which is our own proprietary build algorithm, right? Which takes into account of multiple factors in software development. Because in a software development, things are not linear, right? Suddenly scope change can happen, right? Somebody might have got sick, right? Suddenly change request can come from the customer, right? So to accommodate all those scenarios, we have built those algorithms, which will then give you these health check and mitigation report. First one is productivity. How can you improve the velocity of the team or the developer without burning them out, right? Utilization. You don't want your developer to be utilized so much that they get burnout, because if a developer is burning out, there is a high chance of quality issue and you might lose this key talent. Delivery execution. These are the different use case, right? Delivery execution means I'm running multiple projects, right? I want to know if I am on track. If I am not on track, what are the root causes? And how can I get those release back on track without incurring extra cost? A very advanced AI algorithm that has been used, right? Process, a very important part of our tool, which basically helps you find out the data hygiene issue. Because at the end of the day, analytics is as good as the data in and data out. It's like garbage in, right? So to help you with that, we first help you with the process gap, which means how many times you are properly using Jira. Are you properly inputting the task ID in the Jira? All those different basic hygiene factors we're flagging out through an alert mechanism, so that you can make your team much more mature and disciplined in terms of maintaining the data. Quality, which is quality of delivery, right? You don't want your developer, after it goes to production, started working in bug fixing, right? Because that is an impact on your cost. If too much bugs start coming in, right, it will impact your release, and then everybody will say, oh my god, I'm so busy, I'm in a firefighting mode. This is a normal excuse everybody say, right? But if I can help you find those bugs before it goes to production, it will actually improve your speed to market, right? Communication is not Slack communication or email communication. It is the delivery communication, which is lot of comments and unstructured data that is available as the team are working in their Jira, in the GitHub, right? For example, when I'm working with a developer, I have given them feedback how long they are taking to respond back to me. Those are the unstructured data that is already available in those comments thread. We mine those information, correlate those information, and help you identify where this team is lagging from communication, because these are all correlated together, right? That is our key USP, which currently nobody is giving, and I will show you some of the companies that we have already partnered with. That's why they have done, right? The third part of a solution is performance visibility. Because we are tracking across multiple layers, your project layer, your team layer, your developer layer, we can identify which developer, which team is struggling, what is the root cause, and how you can help them become better, right? Because today as a manager, a lot of things happen on guesswork, right? Because I think, you think, I feel, you feel, a lot of assumption. Through this platform, it will be data driven platform, which will help you kind of not to do any kind of biasing. It will be based on data, right? And the fourth part is investment visibility. Now the persona is CTO and CFO, right? The CTO generally doesn't look into the operational level. What he cares about is, I have spent $10,000 on my engineering team. Where is the money going? Is it for bug fixing or building new features? How many times are we delivering as committed, right? All those business impact we are providing to those different executive, so that they can make decision without having to wait for days or biasing or manipulation, everything in real time. So it completely automates the entire software development life cycle by sitting on top of all these tools and through our AI algorithm, right? So let's look into our market size. So what is the market opportunity in this type of product, right? It is a billion-dollar market, right? Because with the coming of a lot of engineers are there, right? Based on even Gartner, right? This market is growing at huge rate, right? It is coming from the Gartner. Today, we are not looking at $11 billion market. We are looking at $100 million market in the next 3 to 4 years. Which is our market? For example, today we are focusing on India, Singapore, Australia. We have started focusing on US, right? So these are the 4 markets we are focusing on in the next 3 to 4 years, right? And then obviously you can go to Middle East, Africa, and all these markets. But this market is growing, right? So what is the traction, right? What is the validation, right? So we have partnered with a lot of big companies, and also we have direct customers, right? So our customer segments are threefold. One is the product companies, because product company own the Jira, GitHub, and all these things, right? For example, Canva can be your customer, like one of the example, right? These are product company. Who can be our partner? For example, TCS, Tata Consultancy, huge company, right? Tech Mahindra. These guys have already partnered and white labeling our product. Why they do it? They do it because these guys work on large projects, digital transformation project. By using this tool, they can help provide visibility to their customers of what is happening, vendor management, right? Process, quality, right? Managed service offerings. So it is a win-win for them, right? And obviously for product companies, improving the visibility, process, quality is a very important part. And that's what we are focusing on as a direct customer, right? So who is our competition in this market, right? So we have few competition in the Southeast Asia and APAC, right? And few in the US, right? But the issue is all these Southeast Asia, APAC customers are very, very early stage, right? They have just a aggregation dashboard, which basically bring all data together. There is no intelligence, there is no correlation, there is no AI that is happening, right? So it's very just a Power BI dashboard, all these guys. The 2 closest competitor will be Jellyfish, Series D funded company by Accel Partners, Sequoia Capital, Linear B, which is again very close in the US, funded by, I think, Matrix Partner, right? These guys are the one which is closest to us. But the issue with them is these guys have built the product taking into account that the process always is discipline. Because when they have built the product in the US market, right, I have worked in Australia, right? People are much more disciplined how they maintain the data. But if you go to Indian market, if you go to Southeast Asian market, people don't care. They just focus on body shaming, right? Just like throw the body and you can just do their work, right? They don't care about process. They don't care about quality. Our tool caters to that also, right? Number two, they don't have the correlation model. Jellyfish, Linear B, you go and use the tool, there is no correlation. They are doing the visibility very well, right? And obviously bit of AI things that they are doing, right? So although they are huge funded, still they are not doing it. And the reason is maybe in the US, you don't need a lot of AI. Just visibility is a huge problem, right? So that's what we are focused on. And that's how looking into our key USP, if you look into our differentiator from the bigger guys like Jellyfish, Linear B, right? Our main focus is the correlation part, which nobody is doing. And that's why these big guys have partnered with us, right? Second one is the process. All these companies assume that in India, Southeast Asia, and even in some immature market from a product perspective, pupils, they are very disciplined, but they are not disciplined. We have seen our customers, right? So that's how we have also catering to that portion of the market also. So what is our go-to market? So our go-to market is threefold. One is direct sales, obviously, right, as we are our own internal team. Second one is partnership in two parts. One is partnership with VC companies, where we are helping their large portfolio company like Series A onwards to improve their productivity and reduce their cost. Why would a VC would partner with us? Because for them, if I can help them save developer cost, it is ultimately improve the EBITDA of the company. That's why we have already partnered with some of the large VCs in India, right? And actually helping their portfolio company. So that is one partnership. And second one is obviously partnership with SI, system integrators like TCS, like Tech Mahindra, right? And obviously consultant who work on a revenue share model, outcome based. It is not like we pay them to do it, but it's all based on outcome. So very straightforward model from a go-to market, right? So who we are in terms of background, right? So you met Tushar. He's a part of TAI, charter member in Singapore. He was a subcommittee of Singapore Digital Chamber of Commerce. He's my co-founder. I used to work for Accenture as an engineering manager, saw the problem in my own eye, right? Validate the problem with even CBA, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, Telstra, right? And also a lot of product companies. So I know what exactly it takes, right? Shabir Sithawala, based in Singapore, another co-founder. Then we have three advisors. One is technology advisor, business advisor, who are not just corporate people. They are all coming from an entrepreneurial background. Because I have seen people coming from corporate think differently than people who are actually entrepreneurial, right? Because I myself have come from both backgrounds. So very experienced team relevant to this product, right? So what is our current ask today? Why we are here, right? So we have already raised seed funding of 572,000 USD at a 5 million pre-money valuation last year. Right? Today, we have an annualized revenue of 24,000 ARR, and we have a signed revenue of 168,000 ARR. Assuming that the company who have signed this for this tool, they make full uses of this tool, because the way we charge the customer is how many developers they have. Let's say they have 300 developers, right? Whoever data is passing through the system is one licensee. So for this part, you can see that 24,000 is the ARR, because not all the developers have been deployed yet from each customer. They are starting with 20, 30, but the agreement is signed for 300 developers, right? So the actual signed is 168,000 ARR, but the money that is coming in our bank annualized is 24,000, right? And our forecasted revenue based on how the traction is going, right? We're looking by December 2025, $2 million, right? And we have already signed the GTM partnership agreement with TCS, with Action Lab. We have already committed that they will be helping with even the larger in terms of revenue, because they have clients already sitting with them, right? So our current ask is we are looking for $1 million over a period of 18 months on a safe note at a valuation cap of 5.95 million, right? So what it means is I don't need 1 million now. I will be needing 1 million over a period of 18 months, right? And let's say we raise the Series A round in July 2026. Whatever the valuation is, the investors who is coming in this round will be getting at a 5.95. That is their valuation cap. So in this way, we are helping the company visibility, and we are one of the first company to do this AI model, right? So why invest in iTech Journey? First, We have already got validated by all these big guys, right? These guys don't partner with companies if they haven't seen the value, right? First, agreed, signed, and committed. Number two, product already validated in Southeast Asia, in Indian market, right? That's why now moving into other market, right? Similar type of company got acquired by companies. For example, Git Prime, which was a very dashboard type of product, but they were kind of playing in this type of space. They were a part of Y Combinator batch of 2019. They got acquired by Pluralsight at 170 million after Series A. Agile Craft, people who are in Australia, they will know Atlassian, right? So Atlassian acquired this US company at 166 million. Now they are called as Jira Align. So you can see after Series A, both of these company got acquired, right? Not only that, based on the Gartner report, this type of tools demand will increase to 50% as compared to 5% today in 2024. So the market trend is good. This type of company has a lot of market in terms of how they got acquired. And the product today that we have made is enterprise ready product. So the money that we need now is just go and sell. Product is ready. AI ready, Gen AI ready, everything is ready. It's not an MVP, it's not a beta, it's production ready and it's enterprise ready. So we are looking forward to work with all of you and take this company to the next level. Thank you very much. Feel free to ask question.
Can I start?
Yes, please.
I've got a few questions here. The first question is on your AI model. Now, what I do understand, and pardon my ignorance on technology, I don't come from a tech background, more for a business background. But what I understand of AI is the more data you feed into the AI, which is over a period of time, the smarter the generative AI becomes. So please correct me if my concept and basic fundamentals of AI is wrong here. So that's definitely how AI technically works. It's the quality and the quantity of data over a period of time that makes the platform smarter and smarter. So when you make these all claims that my platform is ready to be shipped out and we are completely generative AI ready, I think you should kind of take a good look on that before making that claim, number one. Because you've not put your platform through the volume and the quality of data that the platform needs in order to reach a certain scale on a global level where you can actually make these claims. Raising $500,000 and barely being in business for any time doesn't get your platform to a level where it's really generative AI ready. And that's not just with you, but even people who've gone past Series A and Series B. That's my understanding of the situation right now.
I'll answer that. Okay. So we did not just build this product like with 4 or 5 GB of data. So we got around 50 GB of data from TCS, Tech Mahindra, right? Huawei, right? Who actually helped us kickstart our AI learning process 2 years ago. This company started in 2021, right? We took 18 months to build the product, right? Now to answer your question, right? Because obviously I haven't given you a lot of background. This tool is already deployed in a lot of companies. I'm showing you one of the testimonial of one of the company.
I'll just stop you there. Your ARR is $168,000 US, right or wrong?
Right.
As we speak today, right or wrong?
Right.
And then you're claiming that you've deployed it in so many companies. The kind of companies that you're naming are multi-billion-dollar companies.
Correct.
And you've barely got any revenue from them. So if you were at that stage, in my humble opinion, because I also come from Fortune 500 background for decades, leading companies across the world, if you were at that stage that you claim that you're in, you would have already been acquired even before you raised the seed.
Okay. Amit, are you saying that if he was at this stage, then the numeric that he gave you would be a different number? And that's 100%. How you'd be able to tell right away. So it'd be in the millions, for instance, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So, that's key to know. So for founders that are listening, Amit was able to look at just the statistics or listen to statistics. And when a company's claiming that they've got or are pursuing these Fortune 100, Fortune 500s, how we know you've got there is because your math will show us. If you've got a very small amount of annual recurring revenue or monthly recurring revenue, then you haven't got there. Am I correct, Amit?
Absolutely. So I think the claims need to be looked at. Take it as a suggestion, not as a direct question. My other suggestion is really going on to the uniqueness of your platform, you did mention that your uniqueness is that you are able to integrate data sets from project lifecycle management software that give you a holistic view on the stage by stage of software development projects.
Yes.
That is obviously very helpful. Some of your competitors probably don't have the features that you have, but it is not rocket science for them with the money that they're sitting on after they've raised Series A or Series B to be able to quickly integrate what's missing and completely throw you out of the market because you are not at their level. You don't have $170 million yet. So, you're obviously at a disadvantage. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, this is a personal opinion, of course, that is not a huge USP. I think the USP I, as an investor, is looking at is, do you have intellectual property? If your platform is so unique, if you've got an IP, then you must have filed for a patent. If you file for a patent, that means you must be closed sourced and not open source. So kind of give me a brief on your platform and your technology of what is the patent and uniqueness and intellectual property that you have that can get you a patent in the Australian market or wherever you want to register it.
Right. So I think first part I will answer that when you mentioned that, okay, you have partnered with big companies, but your revenue is not showing that.
Yeah.
The partnership with TCS doesn't mean TCS is my customer. TCS did a pilot with us to validate whether they can sell this product to their customer. Right. So I will not get revenue from TCS as a customer, but I will get revenue from TCS customer as my customer. Right. So that's why
I'll stop you there. TCS develops software solutions for some of the biggest companies in the world.
Correct.
Right or wrong? I've been a part of Tata for many years. I've not worked in TCS, but I've been a part of the Tata group. So help me explain this. I'm a little confused out here. TCS wants to promote you to their customers and not use you internally for the billions of dollars of software that they develop for a host of industry agnostic clients globally.
Let me answer that. So even I come from Accenture, right? So Accenture, TCS, let's say when they're building the product, let's say for Citibank, they don't own the data by themselves. It is owned by Citibank. So if TCS has to use it internally, they have to take permission from Citibank or even Amazon, whatever the company. So services company can never become my customer, right? You cannot do that. Their customers will be my customer.
You're really confusing me, mate. If your platform monitors the development of a software in terms of its life cycle and points out gaps and red flags of what needs to be addressed, then how does proprietary ownership of data come into the play? Even if you're developing a software at a TCS or an Infosys or a Wipro or any one of these large companies, they obviously take permission from the client that they're developing the software that we're going to be handling the data. They sign quite robust agreements on non-disclosures as far as the data management and the data privacy is concerned. A software, they use multiple project management softwares already. Another platform that is better than the platforms they're using that basically helps them manage the life cycle of a project. I really don't understand why Citibank would have a problem if TCS doesn't have a problem using that platform. I mean, I just don't want to go into the technical of it. To be very honest, I don't think it makes sense. As far as I am concerned, your revenue is nothing right now. Your market validation is far from what you think it is, in my humble opinion, as a VC managing $1.5 billion of assets. And, in terms of your uniqueness, you don't have a patent. Do you have a patent? Please give me a yes or no answer.
No, we don't have a patent yet.
You don't. So let's stop it. So not yet. So are you going to file for a patent?
Definitely.
Where? Which jurisdiction?
I would say Singapore.
You would file for Singapore. So I think once you file for a patent, which is going to be a complete uphill task, because most generative AI platforms and machine learning platforms, to the best of my knowledge, is developed through open source. And that is going to be your biggest uphill battle to be able to get a patent to it, which is literally spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on IP attorneys. So I don't know whether you're going to get it or not. Until that patent doesn't exist, to me, at the stage you are, to be very honest, I would suggest don't raise investment, develop this further, develop more revenue, And I don't think right now you are ready to raise $1 million, in my humble opinion. Of course, other people on my panel might disagree with me, as it's their right. So that's all the questions that I have. I think you are too early to raise this kind of money at the stage that you've got. This is my own understanding and view.
Sure.
I'll give it to my other panelists to ask questions. I just don't want to kind of hijack it. Sorry, guys.
No, definitely.
I mean, I can say some things if you want. Really, it's like this. I agree with all that feedback. Before we even got to that point, right? Your biggest situation is market differentiation. You solve a lot of problems. That's what you're claiming. But without adaptability, it doesn't matter. Secondarily, the biggest challenge I see as a go-to-market person is when I got to your go-to-market slide, you drew attention to the idea of needing this class of humans to be part of your go-to-market, that class of humans. In order for your go-to-market to work, you need people or you need an entity. I, as somebody that may invest, need evidence that you have that, right? So if your go-to-market strategy is predicated upon relationships, I want to see that you got 10 relationships or something in there that lets me know that you're able to make relationships. Because if you can't, all of my friend Amit's comments mean nothing, because the company will fail. And he's got good comments.
I agree. And we have got that relationship with multiple companies, right?
What's the biggest?
I would say the biggest one is TCS, right? Then we have Tech Mahindra. We have got Action Lab, right?
It's like this.
A lot of companies.
I could literally, for whatever level, I don't know anything about these companies, so I don't mean to sound insulting, right?
Correct.
But I've got Inside Founder Institute. I've got 1,000 reviews, right? So I can put a page on my website with 1,000 logos that say I've got these people, and it means nothing. I don't know these companies. I don't know if they're big. I don't know if they're small. I have no proof of concept. I have no idea what category they fall in. If I get the one that you're mentoring, is it going to get me the larger ones that you need to actually get market penetration? I have no idea. But the biggest challenge that you have is you have you're in a fairly redundant industry. I'm not saying your software is redundant, right? But for instance, from what I heard, I could do all this in Notion, 100%. Okay. And even if I'm wrong, Notion being the collaborative software, right? Even if I'm wrong, that's materially irrelevant, because I think I can, which means that you don't win. We need to fix that.
Yeah. So to answer your question, that if you can do in Notion, right, then wouldn't have got existed, right? I have myself tried in Notion. This is not possible. A lot of companies, right, when they are running these large teams, Notion is just a collaborative software. But how do you do correlation across Jenkins, across GitHub, across your Notion, across your all these tools? That is not an easy thing to do.
API, right? Just like with any other thing in the planet.
But then how do you map it? API integration is another
relationships thing. And roll-ups, which are LinkedIn a product nature inside their databases. What makes you different than an elaborate Excel spreadsheet with live correlation?
So I'm showing you one of the, I'm showing my screen, right? This is
nothing is showing. You.
Okay, let me.
And nothing is going to help me prove that point that you can possibly show me, because it does not exist. And I'm not telling you, I'm not saying this as a matter of right, wrong, or anything. What I am saying is that the perception that these don't exist is enough to kill your brand.
So, okay, I see at the end of the day, because you don't know our companies that much, but based on what our presentation, it is a kind of perception. But I thought of showing you exactly what customers are saying. I can say multiple things, right? So if you look into some of the customers, right, we have like these multiple companies, right? What they were saying over the last 2 years, we struggled to identify some of our process issues, which would cause lots of leakage in our code and also the overall quality of delivery. I have been looking for such tools in the market. There are few, mostly based in US, but none was actually suiting our needs. Majority of the tool that we tested, including notable ones, LinearB, Jellyfish, Wdev, assume that your process is disciplined. But in our case, the underlying process was not perfect. Hence, those tools were not giving us the right insight. When you came across iTechGenic tool, we decided to give it a try, and after 6 months, the results were amazing. Let's look into the impact. Quality of work improved drastically with 95% customer satisfaction from 70%. Very less rework is now needed. Process gaps were identified. Process is not just about building and rolling it up across. Even Jira Align people can use that. Why they don't use Jira Align? A lot of people not even link commit ID with ticket ID. How do you find that? How many people are not properly reviewed and marched? How do you correlate back to this? It is not easy thing. Like I myself have done that, right? I know this thing. So like, okay, everything can be done. A lot of CTOs come back and say, after they see our tool, I didn't know that. They people start saying. I have seen CTOs bashing their engineering managers when they saw our tool. I could not show that demo because the time is limited. If you see our demo later time, at detail, you will understand why these people are saying, right? You have the phone number, call them.
Can I just
Amit, cut. There you go, buddy. Thank you.
made a small comment on Chris's point. Look, as a founder, you don't need to get defensive, mate. I mean, the idea is not to run you down. The idea is to give you a real life depiction of what the outside world of investment is all about and how you'll be grilled by VC. Number one, I've got two problems out here. Number one, Tushar is not speaking at all, though he's the business aspect and end of the business. I think you guys need to divide the presentation on technical and business, and both co-founders should speak. I think he's just listening, like all of us. Number one, so that take it as a feedback and take it as a suggestion. Right. Number two, I am baffled that you're presenting your solutions here rather than going to the corporate VC arms of Tech Mahindra and TCS, the two clients that you named that have used it. They've got large corporate VC arms that do early stage investments in technology companies, and I know it for a fact. So this is again a suggestion. I think rather than wasting time on external platforms like this, you would find it quite fruitful to go to some of your clients that also have a corporate VC arm and present them this whole concept of how you can accelerate not only their projects, but all their clients. I think you will find far more success in that model than externally talking to people like us. And number two, I think Tushar needs to come in as a business aspect and also take on bits and pieces of the presentation, especially when it comes to go-to-market strategy, client acquisition, how you're going to raise capital, how you're going to beat other people's on the game. Because what I understand, Aninda, that you're the technical aspect of it, but it sounded that you are the entire business and Tushar is not really very clued on to the business side of how he's going to take this concept to the market and make it viable for investors to come in. I think both of you need to do enough prep and divide the concept in each other's relevant fields. It's just a suggestion, take it. Chris, Dr. Karen, what do you think about all the suggestions that we made?
No, I agree. The business case was definitely missing. And I think that for me, that was the biggest issue, is the lack of a business case, the lack of validity, the lack of validation for the concept. It was too much product focus and too technical, and not enough about, really about a clear problem. The problem was clear, was sort of a bit murky. Like it needs some more clarity about that, and it really needs to demonstrate the market fit, and you really need a business case. And I would have really liked to have seen a stronger business case. And I get that sometimes you can really get caught up on your product because you love it. You've worked on it. It's your baby. And at the end of the day, investors don't really care what your product is. They just want to know, is it going to make money? And can you give me some evidence for that? And that was what was lacking.
To Karen's point, that's prolific.
Like you really need to really get back, focus on your business case and put a lot more emphasis in there. And the product itself should really only be about 20% of your presentation.
Right. So we have the business case, Karen. This is the business case but I didn't know how much time and all this, because this is the first time I'm doing in this type of thing. We have done multiple kind of thing, but we have the business case.
And I accept that, and I agree with, and that's why we're giving you this feedback, so that you can go and work on that and build a much stronger case, so that you can actually go to your investors, as Amit suggested, and, to your potential partners and invest, but you really need to work on your presentation.
Let me say this. This is a strategic investment. That's what Amit and Karen were getting at here, right? If you have the ultimately something that has the ability to do what it claims, and you've already got
Correct.
some early stage people, those are the ones that need to fund you. And the reason why they need to fund you is because they actually have risk not being the ones to fund you, if you in fact believe that that's your destination, right? So make a strategic investment. I mean, literally, Google strategic investment, right? And then follow that in terms of your process of your narrative to inspire strategic investments to think about you. For those of you that are listening, a strategic investor doesn't necessarily have the same goals that a traditional VC investor has, right? So many people think that venture capitalists are into it for this particular profit growth or revenue. VCs make their money off your valuation going up, right? That's it. But strategic investors may have ulterior motives. And that doesn't mean ulterior motives has got this negative connotation. Those motives could be that you have their customers, that you have a product that they future care about, that you actually make them doing business easier or cheaper, right? So at the end of the day, we live in a stakeholder environment. And and if you do something to impact stakeholders in a positive way, in a way that a company can't do it, that's your investor. Focus on that.
Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So thanks for all the feedback, right? And Amit, to you and Karen as well, to your comment about why I was silent. Not an excuse, not a defense, but I'm just going to throw it out there. When we started the conversation, Anil and I were tripping on each other, and I didn't want to do that in front of everybody else, right? So he was going with the flow, absolutely passionate about the product, been on all the business calls as well. So it was more of, instead of us tripping and with the technology lag, it did not make sense for me to contribute, but he said what I would have said as well. So if it was in a better latency situation, I would have jumped in, but I thought, with the lag.
No, but I can tell you, as a professional VC who's made over 300 investments, it's a huge red flag if out of a couple of co-founders, only one is speaking and the others are not, and not dividing the presentation equally in areas that you're both experts on. And what I understand of the description Aninda gave about you and the other co-founders, you are the business end of the project. And yet we didn't hear anything about the business aspects of the project. I think that's where Aninda should have stopped after the tech introduction, after what the product is and what the problem it solves and the competitive analysis. And you should have taken over that, how we're going to take this to the market and make sense of it.
Right.
Thanks. Fully appreciate the feedback. Thanks, guys. Good learnings, valuable insights, and we will take things up internally as well. And Chris, your point about strategic investors, absolutely hear you on that. And we have a couple. If we give another opportunity, or if Ananya can allow us to share a little bit more details, and maybe take this conversation offline as well.
Okay. I'll do my very best to connect. Yeah. Thanks very much. And I'm going to learn a lot. Yeah. You will stay in touch.
Right.
And
thank you.
Wish you the best of luck, guys. You stay in touch. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Okay. Okay. Such like a hot room. It was very hot and tense. Yeah, there are a lot of
it always happens. Founders get very defensive because they're so passionate about what they do, and what they need to understand, the real world is going to be worse than here. I mean, trust you me. Nobody's just handing you money like that, right? It's quite a tough world out there.
Okay. Our next startup is in the waiting room. Nishant, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Hi, Amit. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thanks a lot for giving us the chance to present in front of you. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's currently up.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, I mean, let me start with my company name, and then maybe I will walk you through a quick 10 minutes presentation, and then we are open for the questions. So what we are building DevSecOps that is built for scale. we are trying to put DevOps on autopilot with AI-enabled security. We are also one of the most promising tech startup of the year. So this is the team. I am Nishant Gupta, CEO and co-founder. I have 17 plus years of experience into the corporates. I worked for companies like IBM, Fidelity, McKinsey, Emirates Dubai, Blue Ocean Robotics, Denmark, Singtel, Singapore. Then after coming back to India, I joined this Whitehead Junior and Zeppe. I am one of the panelists and speaker in DevOps and AWS conferences. I have won many accolades into the space. Swati Bansal is my co-founder. She is taking care of the operations, finance, and HR. She has around 16 years of experience. She also worked with companies like Accenture, recent UOB Singapore. We have a team of around 11 people now. Two are full stack developers, couple of DevOps engineers. We have hired one person at the business development side, and we have two very experienced people into our tech advisory, like Shri Mahavir Pratap Sharma on our tech advisory, and Pranav Dash. Mahavir Pratap Sharma sir is on advisory board and angel investor as well to us, and Pranav Dash is the tech advisory. So there are various challenges of digital native businesses. Since the panel is not from a very good technical background, so I just want to bring my experience into the picture. So what I mean by is, for example, when I joined this EduTech unicorn as their head of cloud and DevOps, so basically what they were doing to handle the traffic. So basically we were running like 600 classes in parallel, and to handle the peak traffic, we were increasing the number of servers from 10 to 100. And you can assume the cost of one server is maybe 100 USD or 200 USD per month. And if I increase it like 200, then I was increasing my cloud cost to many folds. So the one of the biggest challenge for any digital native business these days is the cloud cost is pretty high. Second challenge is like when the companies start, they do not consider the microservice kind of architecture, because they have to go to the market as soon as possible, right? And even, I mean, when they reach to the series A level, series B level, still their microservice journey is not up to the mark. So let me take a very raw example. So for example, if I am using a food delivering app, now assume like maybe there are 10 crore people who log in to that food delivery app. Now, out of those 10 crore people, maybe only 10 lakh people add the menu, search the menu. And out of those 10 lakh people, maybe only 1 lakh people add the menu to the cart, and only 10,000 people make the payment. Now, if I'm on a monolithic kind of architecture, then the idea is, the problem is like I have to spin up.
I'll just stop you there. The numbers that you're saying are very Indian numbers, and both Chris and Karen are not aware of those.
Sorry.
So you need to kind of use international metrics, because they'll really not understand what you're talking about.
I'm really sorry for that. I mean, thanks for
Thank
reminding
you.
me. Thanks for reminding me. So, okay, let me quote this example again. For example, like you use some food delivering app to deliver to order your food. Now, what I'm trying to say is, for example, there are like 10 million people who log into that food delivery app, but out of those only 10 million people, maybe 1 million people search the menu, and out of those 1 million people, only like 10,000 people add the menu to the cart, and maybe like 5,000 people make the payment. So now the point is like, but if you are on a monolithic application, you have to bring the infrastructure for the app which is consuming the maximum resources. Now, for example, your login service can be a very light service, but your payment service can be a very heavy service. But if all the services are running on a monolithic app on one machine, then you have to bring the resources. You have to put the resources to handle that application very high. And now, like, so another challenge is which I saw was building a highly scalable and reliable platform where you can deploy your microservices, bring down, segregate your monolithic into the microservice kind of architecture, and then for that you need a very highly scalable and reliable platform so that you can scale your microservices as per the traffic. Third challenge which I saw was like the security is very low, because I mean, what I figured out when I joined one of the fintech unicorn as well. So during that time, their lower environments were public. their security groups were open to the world, their SSS ports were open. And when I actually came to know, they said, okay, I mean, they never spent too much time into the security because, I mean, the compliance and all always comes at a later stage. So now the governments are getting tight on that, but that was the scenario. Developers' productivity is another challenge because they are the ones who get engaged into all the tasks like building the CI/CD pipelines, doing the operations tasks, fixing the builds, fixing the issues, and hiring the right DevOps and security resource is always a challenge because they come at a pretty expensive cost. And all digital native businesses have to get the compliance certificate like SOC 2 and ISO 27001. Now, what we are building? So we are building an AI-powered one-stop SaaS solution in DevOps, Cloud, SRE, and security. So let me tell you, there is no AI at the moment till now into our product. So we have the pure automation till now into our product. And with the automation, we are able to bring three value propositions. One is we can reduce the cost. We have reduced the cost up to 70%. So how we have reduced the cost? So basically the kind of platform engineering I was talking about, like how your services will talk to each other, how will you implement the service mesh, how will you deploy your services into a microservice containerization based platform. So basically, I mean, when I was heading, like it took me around 4 months of time with 5 DevOps engineer to build this scalable platform. Now using our product, you can build it in like 90 minutes, and you can adapt Kubernetes, which is a very underlying technology for orchestration of containers. So you leverage this technology, you can adapt that Kubernetes within 90 minutes. Second is you don't need a team where your team is writing infrastructure as a code to consume any service into the cloud. So we give you all the infrastructure as a code. So there are less chances of human error. We have a standard processes into our product. And because of which, like we put DevOps on autopilot and we are able to save more than 70% in your DevOps cost and obviously on cloud cost. Second value proposition is like we are increasing the developers' productivity multiple times with the choice of their open source tools like Argo CD, GitHub, and we build their automated CI/CD pipelines using our product. Third value proposition is like we do a security scan so that we can figure out what are the loopholes, and we also help you how you have to store your secrets so that you do not check in into the GitHub or they are properly encrypted. This is our future vision. So basically, we want to put AI for DevOps. So at the moment, if you are taking a team of like 2-3 DevOps engineer who will be using either using our product or doing it by themselves. Now in future, I mean, you just need a chatbot and then you just give your requirement to that chatbot and then your DevOps will be automated. And we also want to work on MLOps, Web3 and blockchain infra. And another thing is like we want to put the AI engine into the cost savings implementations. There are there are companies like Enops who recommend you like what are the cost savings you can do. But when it comes to the actual implementation, I mean, they will show you, okay, I mean, you can save this much cost. But when you go and talk to any CTO, they always say, I mean, see, my load was high, can be high during any time, right? So I mean, but if you are recommending me that it's not possible that I downgrade my servers or something like that, right? But we want to put an intelligence system here so that we can match the requirements of the CTOs. Third is any tool like Sprinto, Strut, or Venta, right? They help you to get the compliance certificate. But what they mainly do is like they scan your infrastructure and then tell you what are the loopholes. So I have talked to a couple of clients and I worked with a couple of clients, and they always face a challenge. I mean, there is a tool which can tell you what are the loopholes, but there is not a very good tool which can fix your security issues without any production downtime. And again, you need a set of engineers for fixing those issues. So we want to get into that area as well. Now, the global target market of the cloud and all is like companies will spend around 1,000 billion by 2025 in cloud. The value of DevSecOps market was 2.79 billion in 2020. It is increasing at a rate of 24.1%. Companies spent around 4 billion in cloud security in 2020, and companies spent around 172 billion in information security in 2022. This is a competitor comparison. So there are multi-billion-dollar companies like Harness, Anops, Duplo Cloud, GitLab. So basically, I mean, we want to build more features, a complete end-to-end automation suite with AI capabilities around DevOps, cloud, SRE, and security. This is the cost competitive comparison. So for example, like I engage GitLab charges me per user per month. Only for adapting Kubernetes and building the CI/CD pipeline, I have to spend around 70,000 USD. But using our product, you can get it in like 8,000 USD for an annual year subscription. This is our growth roadmap. We started in Q3 2023. We did completed our phase one. We did pilot with 2 customers. We onboarded our first client. In Q1 2024, we could onboard 6 more clients. We did a couple of POCs around our AI engine. In Q3, we are looking to raise a seed fund. We have onboarded another 5-6 clients, and by Q2 2025, will be Series A ready. This is our revenue model. So we are selling our product into 3 modes: monthly, quarterly, annual. For annual, we charge 10,000 USD, quarterly 3,000 USD, monthly 1,500 USD. Our business model is in 2 ways: SaaS as well as on-prem. For SaaS, we give a subscription-based license where a user can use our product, and we have a dedicated, there's no maintenance required. All the features are released on the fly. For on-prem, we put the systems dedicatedly for that customer, and then we do a subscription, we do version upgrades for the release features. For GTM, we are already partners with AWS. We are already partners with Stack Comply and GenDuty. We are also whitelisted on a co-working space like 91 Springboard. So people are availing our services through that platform. We are trying to become partners with Azure and GCP and the other WoF companies. We are going to different AWS conferences, DevOps conferences, KubeCon conferences to promote our product and to generate some leads. We are doing LinkedIn ads, Google ads to generate some leads. We are going to the startup events. We put a booth in a couple of startup events as well. So this is my experience. I helped one of the fintech to save around 180K USD per month into their cloud bill. I helped one of the telecom giant in Singapore to set up the hybrid cloud and fix their security issues. So these are the customers for our product. We have like 2 customers from the US as well, Alpha and Skylark. And we have Flexi Loans, which is a fintech lending platform. We have Cars24, ShareChat, Good Meetings, Decoder. Decoder is the channel started by NDTV co-founder Dr. Pranay Roy. We helped them to build a very highly scalable platform, and they launched their product during the election, and their platform could support more than 20 million requests. And there was like latency of less than 60 milliseconds. For Flexi Loans, there was a use case where they had to migrate towards the Kubernetes containerization journey, and they had around 140 microservices. So what we did for them is we set up all the platform. They had to prepare 4 environments like Dev, UAT, Pre-Prod, Prod, and if they would have done it by themselves, that would have become a 1-year project for them. With our help, they could achieve it in within 1.5 months of time. And earlier they were paying 22,000 USD as their EC2 bill. After going to the containerization, they are paying now around 10,000 USD as their EC2 bill. So we helped them to save around 12,000 USD per month, and we saved it 10 months before. And we automated all their most of the DevOps, and we did it with one of the DevOps engineer. And if they would have done it by themselves, they would have taken them around a big team of 6 to 7 DevOps engineers. So this is the customer outcome. We help them to save around 50% cloud bill, 60% DevOps cost. We also built MLOps. We put DevOps on automation, autopilot for goodmeetings.ai. So this is the feedback from our customers. So the Good Meetings said that we eliminated the necessity of a separate DevOps team. The CTO of Good Meetings wrote that we helped them to save more than 30% into the cost. And the Flexi Loans lead architect wrote that we helped them to save more than 50% into the execution time and 40% savings. We have a couple of case studies from Cars24 and other customers as well. We have a couple of customers in the pipeline who we are talking to. This is our revenue. So last 5 months revenue. So from last April, this April, we have started gaining some traction because we got customers like Cars24, ShareChat, and earlier we had only Flexi Loans and Good Meetings. Now we are getting more customers. So we hope that this year, by end of this year, we'll be able to do revenue 200K to 250K USD in this year. So last month we did 30,000 USD. So this is our ask. We want to raise 300K USD, out of which we already have a 100K USD commitment. Our due diligence is done. So we hope that we'll be getting the money soon. And we are raising this first seed round at a run, which will give us a runway of 12 to 18 months. and this is where we'll be spending the money. So in resource cost, we'll be spending around 63%. We want to go to the US and UAE market, so there we'll be spending around 13.1%, operations 6%, marketing 6%, compliance 5%. We need to get the compliance certificate for us as well, so that we can go and talk to a couple of US customers, fintechs and all. For overs and contingency, we'll be spending around 3 and 2%. These are the cap table details. I have most of the equity, 70%. Swati has 16.5%. We have kept ESOPs for 10%, and we have kept advisory for 3.5%. This is our projection for next 5 years. Last year we started in August 2023, and our first pilot was ready in mid of October, and we acquired 2 customers, out of which we could generate a 20 lakhs revenue in just 4-5 months of time, and our EBITDA was positive. This year also, we will be able to generate a revenue of 250K USD.
Nishant, in USD. Karen and Chris won't understand lakh.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So we made 1 million, 0.02 million USD revenue last in just 4-5 months, and this year we'll be
doing 200,000. Let me get it right. 2023, you made $200,000.
$200,000. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Thank you, Amit.
Yeah, and this year we'll be making 250K USD. Sorry, 2023 we made only 30,000 USD. Only 30,000 USD.
Okay.
Yeah, this year we'll be making 250K to 300K USD in revenue, and we'll be EBITDA positive 0.04 million USD, and this is our 5 years projections. This is our YouTube channel where we have uploaded all the videos of our product, and these are our contact details. Please, you have any questions, please reach out to us.
I mean, to start with, I'm going to kind of tell you the presentation was very, very technical, at least 80% of it. You lost me at some stage because I don't come from your background. I can speak that for Karen as well as for Chris. We are not developers to understand the nitty-gritty and details on what the tech is. What I figured out personally is you're trying to save cloud costs substantially. You are trying to build your platform will help handle traffic and big levels of traffic without having the delays and the lags that other platforms probably face in traffic management online. And the third part being cybersecurity, that you're going to kind of secure. So these 3, a lot of people are doing, Nishant. Your USP is that I'm cheaper. That's your whole, because nobody's interested in strategy. Nobody's interested in consulting from you. Most fintech companies, I've invested in a few in the Middle East. I'm based in Dubai. Most companies have their own internal team on how they want to run the business. And so your USP is really cost saving. So based on cost leadership as a strategy to go into the market and, fight with competition, you need to, my suggestion, this is not a question, but this is a suggestion. I think you need to look at a more concrete form of what would help other people shift their business to you and not use the current competitors. And right now, to me, the business case is not as compelling as one would hope it to be. Also, in terms of your market validation numbers, I would feel that you're a few years away from going to the VCs right now, because I think before in your business, unless you crack $1 million or 2 in terms of revenue, you really don't have the level of market validation that will allow a VC to see a clear roadmap and runway into whether you can reach a Series A or you can possibly reach a Series B. Because VCs are basically making money off your valuation, and assuming that nobody will help any VC come out at Series A because all the capital is reinvested in the company. Where you rarely as a VC make money is if your business goes to Series B, which happens to less than 99% of businesses. So the risk is quite high. So my suggestion before I hand the floor to my other panelists and colleagues is relook at your USPs. Don't make the presentation so technical when you're talking to investors, because you'd lost. And presentation is a very engaging activity. So if you've lost me because I just don't understand these technical jargons, so I think make it more simple for investors to understand what you're trying to create and the value and the money that you're going to make companies save, and what's the business case there. That, for example, if I am investing in a technology very, very different to you, like carbon emissions or carbon sequestration, I should be able to calculate that right now through my technology, I can possibly solve $100 billion problem directly. And out of which my current capabilities are to get $1 billion worth of business from there. So, that's a clear indication of what your, Form, Sam, Tom, or whatever you're calling it today, should be, in my clear opinion. It's not enough saying that it's a $200 billion industry, so we are going up. I mean, these are Google numbers or research numbers that any of us can Google if you go. I think it has to be an extremely clear roadmap of where you are going with the current resources that you have, and what resources do you need to go to X or Y. Right. So take these inputs, and I'll hand it over to my other panelists to ask their relevant questions. Cheers.
Just want to thanks a lot to you, Amit, for the transparent feedback. Yeah. And I will take this as a very positive feedback, because I understand, you have lots of experience, and then, so thanks a lot for the very good feedback. And about you rightly mentioned, we do not have a USP at the moment, but what we are trying to do is, we are a very early stage startup, I would say, but in this 11 months, if you look at it, right? So basically we are able to go to a number around 200K, 30,000 USD MRR. So this is how we are trying to acquire a little bit market, and we are trying to approach many people. As you said, like cost savings is one of the USP at the moment, but we have a vision. So basically we want to build a product where a complete end-to-end suite. You said like there are many companies who are doing this into the market, like Enops, GitLab, right? Harness.io. But if you look at the Harness.io, they sold the CI/CD Kubernetes problem. If you look at the Venta or some other security company, they solve the compliance certificate problem. And if you look at the other company, like maybe Enops, they solve the cost optimization problem. Since my background is across...
I understand where you're coming from. There are two factors. All these companies are based in the US.
Right.
That market works very differently to where you are based. Let me tell you, psychologically and in terms of need. Your product or your solution has to be fit with the market that you're building it in, the market that you have customers in, and the priority of those customers as relevant to your product. So giving an example of a country like the Netherlands or the United States or Australia or New Zealand is not relevant, because the whole business ecosystem in those countries are very, very different. The maturity level of the industry and the economy to understand solutions is very different to India. So I think you have to take that advice on board before you even do a competitive analysis. If you did a competitive analysis of, let's say, the Indian market and looked at different solutions available in India and say that, hey, there's no solution like us available, we skimmed the whole market, then you've got a solid, compelling case, because I know for a fact that if I move early on your investment, I could really scale it up, number one. When you talk about MRR revenues of 30K a month, that might be quite impressive in India, but on a global level, and probably Chris would agree with me from a US perspective, it's nothing, mate. For a software service model, it is insignificant, that kind of numbers, I can tell you, even from an Australian point of view, and Karen would probably, talk about that. So incorporate this feedback and alter your pitch to the market that you're going after, understanding whether those numbers are going to fly in that particular market that you're pitching investors in. I give the floor to my other colleagues to ask you.
Thanks, Amit. Thanks a lot for the feedback again. Thank you so much.
Let me just say this, in terms of the format of your presentation, historically at Founder Institute, we put things into 4 orders, right? You either have your problem solution order. That's because that's what you've identified. That's what all your numbers have. You start with your problem solution. You put your traction forward. That's because you have a tremendous amount of traction. That's what stands out. You put your team forward. That's because you have literally an irrefutable team. You've got Elon Musk. You've got a bunch of people that have already proven themselves in industry, proven themselves in this sector or any sector, or opportunity, which means other people that are out there in the startup space, or perhaps the rest of the world, doesn't realize this opportunity exists, but I don't have any traction. I don't have any numbers. I don't have any proof to get there. You chose to go with team first. The problem that you have with that is you're not Elon Musk, right? So all that time that I heard at the very beginning, where it's talking about you as a team member, I think you're awesome. Don't get me wrong. it was wasted, because then you reiterated it later, right? You need to get into your value propositions. And what I'm looking for specifically, if I'm going to use a lean canvas as a guide here, is your unfair advantage. I see 0 unfair advantage. I need to see several unfair advantages. All right. That doesn't mean that you don't have unfair advantages. I just don't see them yet. Right. But there is a need for what you're doing, whether you're the right company, the right format, and the right approach to that, yet to be determined. I'm sure it's somewhere deep in the annals of your presentation. Happy to meet with you in office hours and help you figure it out. But think about structural changes to the presentation. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Chris, for the another good feedback. I think you are right. So we will improve it on this also. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you've got to really give your business case. People want to know why they're going to invest in you. They've got to understand your business model. They've got to understand how you're going to get to market, and you've got to give specifics. So on the slide where you started talking about numbers, you just basically, and I couldn't even read the whole slide. You were gone. And that really frustrated me, because that's the stuff I want to know. And so you're spending too much, so much time on your product. What we really want to know is, what is your product doing that no other product is doing, which is what, that Chris was talking about, that unfair advantage. What are you doing? You've got to be really clear on the problem that you're solving. You've got to be really clear on what you're doing that nobody else is doing, and you've got to really show that, and then get up into the business case, like the validation. So I would have liked to have heard more about not what your clients have said. I would have liked to have heard more numbers around what your clients are willing to pay. I would have liked to have heard, more numbers about the profitability of that. And I would have liked to have heard, why should I invest in you? And it's that business case, because at the end of the day, to invest in you, we really want to hear that business case. We really want to hear a very clear go-to-market strategy. And we want to hear that it's really, really targeted, and you've got a clear go-to-market strategy.
Got it. Sure, Karen. I think thanks a lot for giving the very good feedback. So we will improve, and then maybe if we get an opportunity to present again, then we will definitely improve all the points, and we'll come back to you.
Yeah, it's come back with the business, and look, use the Founder Institute, for example. Use their decks. They've got a whole pile of decks that you can use as a foundation to develop your model.
Okay, got it. Sure, Karen. Yeah, nice.
So, Sean, is there any final words you would like to add?
No, I'm good for now. I think I really got very good feedback from all the people, all the nice people here, and thanks. I would also like to thank everyone to give me an opportunity to present it and to give me the time of these people. Thanks a lot for now.
That's
Good
awesome.
luck.
So we will part ways for now, and good luck. We stay in touch.
Sure, definitely. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. That's our second step. Please, are we getting some correlation between the first setup and the second setup? How are things going? How are the startups in terms of their page and everything? Do we have any ways to say on that? Okay.
Yeah.
Our next startup is from Estonia, Iva AI. Yeah, Iva AI is our next startup. About this?
Yeah, we say Eva AI, but I know there's a bit of confusion with that name, so it's fine.
Okay, Iva AI. Yeah, sorry. So, Vades, welcome on stage, and
Yeah.
the panel is ready for you.
Cool.
I'll be at the backstage. Good luck.
Yeah. Where's the screen sharing? Okay. Can I share just the screen, or do I have to upload something? Anane, where did he disappear? I have the slides on the screen, but I don't understand whether I can share the screen or do I have to upload something?
Yeah, you can share. Use the present option on your screen.
Yeah.
Present.
Okay,
Yeah.
share screen. Yeah. Okay, found
Yeah.
it. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that technical aptitude sometimes it's failing. Okay.
Oh,
Cool.
okay.
Can anybody
good.
see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes. Cool. Awesome. So yes. So hello everyone. My name is Valdis. Yep, I'm from Estonia, and I'm going to talk about EVA AI. We are quite early in our journey, but I would still like to say what we're doing right now. So why digital sales employees for not necessarily in enterprises, that was mentioned in the start, but actually for SMBs and small businesses is the next big thing. So just a little bit the background, who am I, and just who you're talking to is that me and my co-founder, we actually met in Antler last year. We went there with completely different ideas, with different approaches, but we quickly synced up with the kind of commonalities that we both had. We both started our businesses in our teens, first businesses. And then my co-founder, Ivan, went on more on kind of the entrepreneurial path, and he's actually part of the mentor program and Founders Institute. As I see, there's a couple of people on the panel listening in, so you might know him actually. And I went more on the corporate path, is working in different companies, but we ended up both understanding that we want to build something of our own. And we had a lot of late night calls, out of early morning sync ups, and then also eventually got on board some couple of founders, as you see on the slide as well, that had also prior exits and that are subject matter experts in AI, which is kind of the technology that we're using here as well. And combined together, we have more than 25 years experience in sales, business development, marketing, and a few other fields across the different areas of business. And what we got in the beginning, that we actually started building something we thought would be really cool to have, which is automating customer support, because that was the kind of frustration that we both had and experienced personally, which then we turned out is not actually the thing that's needed. So we quickly pivoted to something that we should be building where the most efficiency and the best outcomes could be, which is automating e-commerce backend, which is also not the right thing that was supposed to be built, because we eventually ended up talking with a lot of customers who told us, hey, you know what, we actually have struggles with selling our products, selling the kind of digital services or products online. We want to expand other markets. How do we do that? And then we thought, okay, cool. So they want actually automation in sales. And then we dug in a little bit into the data and realized, as you see on the slide here, that the data actually supports that notion. So it's not only just, of course, most importantly, customers saying to us, potential customers, but also the data that kind of back this up. And after talking with the potential clients and also investigate even more further, then we realized this currently, if a company, and specifically kind of SMB or medium large kind of business, has some sort of a sales client management system set up, it's a bit kind of a complex structure there. It's not very well organized, and it's definitely time consuming to manage. So, and what we're offering in this case is that we at least take that back-end part of reaching out to the leads, engaging the clients, and then getting them booked on which is the end outcome booking, then ending up booked in the calendar of the customer, is the part that we're doing. So we call that the dirty work of the sales, which is usually the most time consuming and not very efficient across a lot of businesses. And we offer that with a very straightforward cost without any need to kind of think about whether there's multiple systems in place. And I'll explain you a bit more how that kind of works from our side and what we have as a setup. And obviously, because of that kind of structure, we can also be more efficient and effective. So getting essentially their first clients in less than 45 days. Actually, right now, we already say in less than 30 days. And of course, it's way more efficient, especially if the company is already having some kind of a setup where there are about 3 or 4 salespeople or account management people doing the sales, managing the clients, and doing the back-end work. And it's definitely way more significantly cheaper than maintaining that team and the systems in place. And as I mentioned before, so now about that kind of solutioning, you might think, okay, there's obviously a bunch of these companies out there that do AI this and AI that, and they're available probably for free, and they're available for different price tiers and so forth. And that is correct. They are there, and the names of some of those you see here in the table on the slide. But the thing is that they offer very specific one kind of concrete thing, either the start, or the middle, or the end of the kind of sales journey, whereas we try to encompass all of these things together. So meaning we're going to craft and come up with that campaign that we put in place. We set out the automation processes. Then also there's the communication with the client that's happening automatically based on these kind of setups that we had in the beginning, how the campaign is curated. And we end up with kind of agreeing that the client basically gets booked into the calendar for either whoever is doing the sales part. And usually in the SMBs, it's either the first salesperson or the CEO or maybe an account manager. And so we're kind of the top layer solution that encompasses these three most important and crucial components. And our kind of maybe the secret or the special part of it is that we use our experience from us coming from the sales and business development background, all the data that we gathered throughout the years of working, that we feed into the system that basically is the one that uses it in the beginning to communicate with the client. And on top of that, we're going to then build on these new use cases and new clients, and that system becoming more sophisticated and smarter, so we can develop it more. So that's the AI component there. And as we are partnering also with European Competence Center, so we're going to try to also use their expertise and their servers and systems to train these models so they become better. Now, as in terms of market, we are across right now Europe, but mainly the target kind of audience that we're looking at and kind of trying to close and work with right now is Scandinavia, Baltics, and Eastern Europe. We are here because we consider that in these markets to expand and get these new clients for small businesses and them growing the revenue, they have to be quite local, meaning that they have to come into localization, speaking the language of their potential clients. And as we have multiple languages covered ourselves, including Swedish, Hungarian, Estonian, Latvian, and Russian, then this was an obvious choice to start off here. And the market opportunity is obviously big because we all know that the backbone of every country's economy is the small business, and that's across the board. It's not only the European case, it's also the same case in US, and I'm pretty sure that's the case in kind of give or less the whole world. And that means that this is not only helping small businesses to grow and develop, but also basically helping them be more engaged and involved in the local economies. And how we want to approach these clients is very simple. We don't want to make it very complex. We use the tried and tested model with subscription-based approach. So there's no per seat or per workplace or workstation kind of setup. It's just a monthly cost. It's just if they want something very simple, so they just want the initial outreach and the communication with the client, but they do all the engagement and all the kind of logging into them be logged into the sales, and then building that kind of whatever integration with their CRM system they have themselves. Then they start at the very beginning. But if they want some more complexity and more involvement, then they go to the mid-tier. And of course, we have something for a very kind of custom approach as well, if that's needed. I guess maybe the most interesting part is like where we are right now. So we have had paying and are having still paying pilot clients, and some also were kind of pro bono pilots that we did in the very beginning. Currently, we have 2 companies using us. One is a marketing agency in Hungary, another is an HR company in Lithuania, and there's 3 more deals that we're closing next week, which 2 are in Latvia and 1 is in Estonia. Currently, we have a pipeline of 132,000 euros of sales that we're kind of working on and trying to get to a certain revenue number that I will mention in the next slide. We got a little investment from Plug and Play, and we went through Baltic Impact Accelerator to also learn a bit more and expand a bit more and get some sweat equity. We have a fully working MVP, and as I said, we have the partnership with the European Competence Center as well. And the plan is that we are now going to finish with self-service onboarding flow. So that's for those clients who want something off the shelf and to be used right away, and then fine-tune for more use cases, because we envision that this is going to be the tool that basically is going to cover more functions in the small businesses, because for them, it's not about having multiple systems that they can utilize and connect together and then have like 5-6 different tools that they pay for every month that do all these different things, but ideally one tool that does most of the things. So if it is covering the client part, it's covering the marketing part, maybe it's also covering the HR part, or maybe even the accounting part. So they're looking something for more encompassing, not very, very kind of specific. For big enterprises, it's the specifics. For smaller, medium-sized businesses, it's more about the broader use case of the tools that they put on board and use. And then we want to integrate, of course, with more systems to be more available to wider audience. And currently, we're raising a small amount of money. We have been bootstrapping this business so far. We're raising 200,000 to get the 25K MRR by the end of this year. And the distribution of the funding is as follows: for the product, team growth, and operations. The product and the team growth will be the most important, because although we are going and moving forward, we would like to do it a lot faster right now. So that will definitely allow us to advance to that stage quicker. So thank you so much. And please, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
So thank you, Valdis, for your presentation. My name is Amit. I'm based in Dubai. I'm a VC.
Yeah.
Couple of quick questions. So you're basically a platform that does lead generation, sales, and outreach, all combined into one as your service areas for a host of clients.
Yes.
Which is nothing unique, to be very honest.
Of course.
A lot of people are doing that. Now, your USP is the artificial intelligence component of it, which only comes into play at the level that it should play on after you've done significant work through your platform, that the platform starts becoming quite intelligent based on the quality and the quantity of data that you feed through it. And that's not going to be an overnight process. That's going to take time for it to really work the way you are visioning it to work. So it's yet to be that level of AI that uses incredibly value to customers. So the two questions that jump out for me is three actually. Number one, I don't see much uniqueness as a VC. You need to work on that. Looking at your competition in the European Union and Scandinavia and doing kind of a table or a competitive analysis of what you're offering versus what other solutions are there in the market, which clearly points out the uniqueness to people like us. Number two, I personally feel for a single person run business, if I was to use your platform, even on a European cost basis, it's kind of quite expensive. It comes to about 7,000 to 8,000 euros a year. If I was to kind of use your platform as a single agent platform, which I think, one needs to do the competitive analysis and look at those costs. I personally feel that the costs are a little high, in my humble opinion. Maybe it is not, maybe it is, but I personally feel it's high. You need to look at that. And what I didn't understand is you need to raise 200,000 euro to get to a 25,000 euro MRR. Is that correct? Did I get it right?
Yeah, that's true.
Which actually doesn't make sense, mate, because that, if I calculate a yearly outcome of that, you're pretty much talking about 300,000 euro a year.
Yeah, well, the plan initially for us was that by end of Q1, that we're gonna get to a total lifetime revenue of 120,000 euros. But
you're going to raise 200,000 euro to get to a lifetime sales of 120,000 euros
in about 8 months. Yes.
I mean, how does it make any sense?
Why?
If you wanted 200,000 from me as an investor,
yes,
I'm looking at a $2 to $3 million return.
Yeah. Well,
so if you told me that I'm going to raise 200,000 from you, you give me $200,000, and I'm going to achieve $2 million of sales from it, then the case becomes very compelling. So when I divide 2 million by the number of months, let's say 12 months, then I know that you're clocking almost $200,000 to $250,000 a month, multiplied by 12. Now that, to me, as an investment, that makes sense. I think you need to relook at your numbers, mate. At that number, I don't think, for me, as a VC, I'm seeing a lot of profit come in, because you're saying, give me 200, and I'm going to achieve about almost 300.
I mean, is his investment too small? Is his ask too small? Is his demonstration of evidence too small? How does he solve that problem?
I think you need to relook at your numbers, because it doesn't make logic. Because if you, as an investor, is investing $200,000, then you need to minimum in your field and your industry do an MRR of $2 million a year. That's when it starts making logical sense.
Yeah, but that's somewhere way down the line.
If you sold 100% of your company to the investor, right? So the investor owned 100%, they would technically profit under on that. You know what I'm saying? Technically, if they put in $250,000 and you yielded 300,000 based on that. But that's the problem. The moment you start introducing numbers, right? Or nerds like me can start putting it into a spreadsheet live while you're going along your presentation, is when you run into a challenge. Because now right away you have the situation where, like Ahmet did, he pulled out a situation, and I can see your frustration, right? I guess he's calling you out on this. I get it, right? Because he's calling you out on something. Is it the right thing? Is it what you intend? Is it anything you want to insert there? Well, none of that matters, because it happened, right? The key here is to prevent those things from happening. And at the end of the day, I like what you're doing. The biggest challenge that you have is you're probably in the most flooded landscape ever in terms of your typecasting in digital marketing. And I'm typecasting you as that, which means that not only do you actually compete with digital marketing and lead gen people, you then compete with all the success coaches that say they have something in that world and it's all baloney and nonsense and nothing real, right? So you have this kind of extra competition that exists in that landscape that you have to get beyond. Do I think you have something more real than 90% of them? Well, that's obvious. Yes. But that's not because you have something that's amazing. It's because 90% of them are bullshit. Part of my language.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The number actually that we put there, just to add a comment there, we gave it a thought, so it was just not very random. And the idea that is we get to that 25K by the end of the year. So this was like a very short-term goal that we're looking at. So obviously, I mean, for the VC in a kind of investment, you're totally right, Amit. So if the number is not like 10x or 100x based on that, then it makes no sense.
10x. So it's about, if I ask you for $10, give me $10. Understand the mathematics of it. If I tell you give me $10, right, and I'm going to do an MRR of $7, I mean, it doesn't look like an upside at all from a logic perspective. If you are asking for money, then you need to minimum, make it appetizing and enticing, that with your money, I'm going to achieve X number of sales. So if I tell Karen that give me $100 and I'm going to achieve $60 of sales a month, she's kind of like, why am I even doing this? Like, that the upside is not big enough. So I think you need to sit down with somebody who understands number, or one of your co-founders that's got multiple exits, like you said, and really run the numbers that you give very clearly, that this is the money I need, and this is the money that I'm going to achieve quarter on quarter, year on year, where the investor starts looking at, okay, he's asking for $200,000 from me, but end of the year, he'll probably come out making 500 or 400, which is 150 more than what he took from me. So I see a very positive upside to where this guy is driving the business. So I'm saying your concept's great, and all the points that Chris made, it's a very cluttered market. And like I said in the beginning, uniqueness. Your uniqueness on what you're trying to do needs to jump out stronger with a competitive analysis of competitors in your field. I think that would help people like me and other people understand where you stand in the whole pool of this cluttered market. And number two, what do you want the money for and how much you're going to achieve out of that money? A very clear, simple, straightforward analysis. I think your presentation will start looking quite convincing.
Okay. No, that's a good point. And thank you for that. We actually are working with also we have as a consult in terms of finances, one of the professors from the economics school here locally. So we're working with him as well to test different also prediction models and numbers.
I would hate to jump in there. Stop working with academia and work with somebody who's actually made crazy amount of money in life. And
those we also have in the team.
Just this is my humble opinion, because I'm a visiting lecturer as well, and I'm a real life entrepreneur as well.
Okay.
So I understand both sides of the game.
Okay. Yeah, no, those we have. We have the advisors and my co-founder. They both of these parties have exited their own companies. So
Ivan's a good people too. I got mad respect for him.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I will let him know.
I guess what I'm trying to understand, or one of the things that I was trying to get to was, is it just to get to the booking stage, or does it also do the sales side of it?
Right now it's to the booking stage, so mainly getting them into the calendar. So yeah, there's still somebody needs to convert it, but the job is already less stressful and demanding for that person.
So it's just to get to the booking stage, because when I looked at that, I thought, well, there's so many other platforms already doing that. And I was really trying to understand what it is that you're bringing to the table to, because you've got, like, I look at so many platforms already that are already doing that in terms of taking you through from essentially digital marketing but they're already combining that with apps, they're combining that with websites, etc. And I'm trying to understand, and that's that market, like digital marketing is a declining market. It's not a growing market. And so I'm trying to understand what it is that you're actually bringing to the table that is going to make a small business invest essentially £600 a month.
So
Or
from
€600 a month, I should say.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, from our side, what we say in the beginning is that what we are kind of basing it upon is the kind of the experience and knowledge that we've built throughout the years. It means we feeding the system, like the emails or the communications that we had with clients, and that how we actually engage with them. That's kind of the basis of it. So that's the kind of the unique part of it, right? So it's not just a random ChatGPT stuff, but it's actually kind of real life interactions that we had with clients already. That's serving as the base. And then of course we're building on top of other interactions that our clients are going to be using as well, right? So to make it more unique. And the other part is that we're also basing it on the localization. So let's say that we are dogfooding our product ourselves. So we just recently did a campaign in Latvia. We did it in Latvian, right? So we specifically wrote all the emails that were in Latvian language, and they were written partially by machine translation and then just slightly edited by me, as I'm a native speaker. But that was like a quite great success, because we were just targeting specifically a small batch of 200 companies. We ended up with 31 calls after basically, give or take, almost 2 weeks. Yes.
And I do understand that, and I think it's great, and I love that. But I'm already seeing a number of platforms that, you know, like a number of website development platforms doing that, etc., that already have that in place. Like Wix is something that springs to mind straight away, that already has, I can't remember how many languages that they have already that converted into it. They've already got the machine learning process in there. They take you straight to booking stage. So essentially, and they have the automated email side working. And, you know, there's several other platforms that do the same. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. That was one.
Squarespace is another one that is quite active in the US that does that.
Yeah. So you've got Squarespace, you've got, I can't think, but there are others, and they're also like in the LMS market as well as the CMS market. You've got that Passion app that does it as well. There's a few others that are already doing that. Because essentially, for small businesses, which is your client, they want something that does all of that.
Yes.
And so they're already taking them through to the booking stage to book the client.
But we want to advance that. I mean, that's just, we're starting off because we're very early, obviously, right? So we want to take it to the next level. And as I said, maybe I didn't explain that in more detail. We actually want to add more functions to it as well, right? So that it could automate some, let's say, HR related things, or also the accounting related things, right? As an additional feature, right? So they could actually use us as a platform from the very beginning until a certain point to do all of these tasks kind of for them, right? So they don't have to shop around with different tools.
Well, those sites already have plugins for the accounting stuff, not so much the HR stuff to my knowledge, but certainly for the accounting stuff, there are already plugins for that in order to actually keep track of revenue and invoicing, and all of that stuff is already in there. So that all the invoicing is automated, the tax is already done, it's already in the systems. So that's already happening. And so what I'm trying to understand is, what are you doing that's different? And how are you actually going to, because, you know, these platforms are a lot cheaper than €600 a month.
You know, just to add on Karen's point, I have been for a number of years, because I'm based out of Dubai and I've got 6 global offices, I've been using Xero as a platform that comes from my part of the world. And it does everything. It does everything. And also, I've been using something called My HR, which also comes from New Zealand, which also is an automated version helping me with a lot of tasks. And that integrates perfectly in my system, giving me tax, budgeting, invoicing, payment follow-ups, human resource management, payroll management, everything under one umbrella. So look, the fact is that they really exist, and she's right. It's actually cheaper than what your costs are right now. That's I brought up your costs.
Okay, so the idea is to work on more on the value prop, yeah, of the uniqueness. Is that why regarding the competition, I totally understand. We understood that when we went into this that this is a saturated space, but I also keep reminding myself about the great story. I was more than 40 years in Wise, and I came in there exactly at the time when Wise was 40 years in and Revolut just started. And if we just think about it, I know maybe it's not the best example, but it always reminds me that story that they started in the same market, doing the same product, targeting the same clients. Because Revolut came in UK, did also money transfers. We were even laughing back then that they did exactly the same what Wise did, and we were just making like a joke, like how are they even different? And even right now, they're barely different, to be honest.
So Valdis, take this as a feedback. Everybody who comes on the stage to present their venture, they talk about those 2 unicorns that made it like mega big, even within a saturated market. Somehow they forget the 9,999,000 companies that went down with all the invested capital in them. And those are not mathematics logically that anybody would take a gamble on. 2 out of 1 million companies. So I think, and this is what I tell most founders that I talk to, that one needs to build a logically compelling story and not depend on who became a Brad Pitt or a George Clooney and the billion of people who couldn't. That's not a convincing answer. Amazons are not the example. WeWork is anyway a bad example, but I mean, some of those big unicorns are not the only examples in the world. There are millions and millions of companies that have gone down with all the invested capital in them. And I think stakes need to be, in today's climate, a bit more realistic and appetizing for investors to take a punt on a very early stage that you are.
No, absolutely. I'm just saying this because, as a founder, yourself, you try to look for the positives, right? You don't try to look for the 9 out of 10 businesses that failed, but you want to look at that one that succeeded, right? And you say, okay, I think I can do it as well. Because otherwise, you're going to run yourself down into going crazy that you never succeed, right? And it's not a good motivator or instigator for, of positivity for founders, right? Only that. But I appreciate that. These are really good points. I mean, and I'm definitely making a note. And I think just yesterday I had an in-person pitch here in front of the Angel Committee here in Estonia. And I think the kind of what I sensed the vibe was kind of the same in a way. I didn't get a lot of questions, but from those that I got, I think the feeling kind of was sort of the same, what you shared right now today. So thank you for that.
Chris, do you have any questions, man?
No, I don't have questions per se. I mean, I love the industry, right? At the same time, I hate it. Okay. And why I say that is because that's the part of me that is wearing the hat of society. There's nothing about what your industry is that society likes, but society needs it.
Yes.
Almost every decision's predicated upon it. Right. So I get that. So if you're going to spend your time on anything, spend it on thinking like a human and see if you can solve the fact that I was able to so immediately say that as a human, we hate it, and I believe that you and your business partner, who I'm a fan of, could potentially solve that. So focus on that, my friend. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Karen, and thanks, Amit.
Thank
great
you.
feedbacks, and thank you for comments and listening and spending your time with me.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Valdis.
Appreciate it. And thanks, Anna, so much for inviting me.
Thanks very much. You will stay in touch. Okay. That's awesome. We have our next startup. They are in the agri-tech space. Manuel will be joining us, and the stage is yours. Kindly introduce yourself and proceed.
Hi, my name is Johnson Excellent Emmanuel. I'd like to thank Amit, Dr. Karin, and Mr. Chris for giving me the opportunity to share what we are doing in the agro space here in Ghana, and especially our target being Africa. So first of all, we are an agricultural ecosystem trading platform that basically helps farmers across African continent to make trade easily and faster. And some of the things that caused us to go into there was because of the the plight and demands from a lot of the local farmers and individuals who basically want to buy agricultural produce, and not just that, also acquire services and all of that in that agri space. So we started to provide a solution called a Aduanife Marketplace, which Aduanife actually means food house in Ghana. And so it creates the opportunity for local farmers, commercial farmers, and the service personnel within the agri space be able to express themselves easily from one single application. So we identified a problem, which is farmers and consumers. Of course, there are many platforms that seek to connect them, but we've made it even more accessible by just going on a platform and having direct access to them without the need of you trying to send an email or send a request before you have access to them directly. And we noticed there's insufficient supply chain as well as limited market access, inadequate logistics services, and most of the payment systems are not intercontinental. Are not how do we call it? From different countries. So we decided to do something about that. So that's a problem that we identified. And this is our solution, our platform, which grants individuals and farmers and service personnel direct market access, a user-friendly platform, an efficient logistics network, and a secure payment gateway, which of course we've partnered with Paystack, Flutterwave, and Haptel in Ghana to allow trade easily from different countries as well, with Flutter leading that pathway. So our platform solved that problem. And so we identified a market, and which of course agriculture is the backbone of many economies, is feeding a lot of people. And so we noticed that this could potentially be something massive, but yet we need to take a critical look at what actually happens in this market. So we identified the market, which is of course in the African continent more than 1 billion, and we noticed that we could fix ourselves there and solve, if not all, some of the problems that these farmers face. And that could be our way of, changing the world one time at a go. And we identified a growth potential, which we believe that will be able to grow and serve a lot of people. And so that has been a motivation, and that is what is making us dive into this particular space. And of course, we could grow our revenue and the people that we serve to a much higher number. And so we also identified the market segmentation in these places. So we noticed that there are various segments in the market, especially when it comes to the agricultural ecosystem. And so we noticed that when we position ourselves, giving all the players an opportunity to express themselves on our platform, it will help out, granting them access beyond their imaginations. And so our business model is quite simple. So we have three ways of functioning when it comes to financing. So our present strategy, we decided to go with the commission-based and subscription-based system, especially for the farmers, and then the service ecosystem players. Yeah, let me put it that way. Those who will help us in providing services and other agricultural stuff on the platform. For them to run a platform, we provide them with commission-based systems and also subscription-based systems for them. And then also for the users, we have what we call the Remote Marketers Initiative, because we can't be everywhere at the same time. So we decided to introduce that to also help them be able to connect different farmers from different localities onto the platform, making it easier for individuals to be able to, have access to the things that they really want. So this has been our our three business model that we are using currently at the moment. And our go-to-market strategy is basically, like I indicated earlier, the remote market initiative. And then we are currently on the Google Play Store, yet to be on the Apple App Store. But we have a web app that grants other platform like the Apple ecosystem to be able to have access to the platform as well, which looks just like the app itself. And then we are partnered with individual agricultural stakeholders to be able to push the platform out there for the people who really want to have access to this, to what we have, be a part of us and share the good news about our platform. And then we have other players in the markets, which of course is not new. We have AgroCenter, we have Grow for Me, and we have Ghana Farmers Market. Of course, these are local players. Since we are here right now, these are the people that we are competing with. But we have other platforms like True Trade, Nile, who are doing amazing things across the African ecosystem. But then these are the people that we are working with at the moment. And we have easy integration, regional market access, transparency and traceability, also a customized pricing mechanism, giving farmers the autonomy to be able to price their stuff. And since it's a marketplace, as a farmer, you need to make your product easily accessible so people can actually buy by offering a lesser price or a more affordable option for the consumers to actually buy from. So we make it easy for them as well. And so this is our team. Myself, I'm the CTO and the co-founder. I'm a software developer at the same time, a business management consultant, and my co-founder Enes Mimshak, and then our operations manager, which is Alexandra. The other team members are currently not on this particular slide, but we have the agricultural expert when it comes to soil management, when it comes to trading, when it comes to the payment systems. They're all not here on the slide at the moment. So thank you so much. And this is what Adrian Marketplace is all about. Any question, I'll be happy to.
Great presentation. A very, very good initiative, I must say. Something that is the need of the hour. My questions, I'm going to start off with my questions. My name is Amit Drover. I'm based out of Dubai. I'm a venture capitalist. Now, my question number one is, you said that you're solving the logistics problem and the payment problem. I can understand that you've collaborated with a payment gateway that will help you solve that problem. Who have you collaborated on the logistics and the transparency, which is farm to table aspect of your business? Because you can't be running the logistics yourself with just 3 people. So which is the logistics company that's helping you do this?
Okay, thank you very much, Amit. So there's something that we wanted to do, which was quite different from the traditional logistics network. We, as a long-term goal, we are building a logistic network with different logistics companies here in Ghana at the moment. We're hoping to scale up to other regions, but for in Ghana at the moment, for right now, we've got about 6 logistics companies in Ghana who are providing us with their riders. So this is how it actually works. Now on the platform, we have the nearby market system, then we have the wholesale market, and then we have the logistics market as well.
Right now, is your platform operating and active?
Yeah, it's currently operating, yeah.
How many farmers do you have on the platform?
We have 1,250.
And what kind of revenue are you doing on the platform?
Okay, so at the moment, our revenue is not so high because of some few challenges we are facing. But from last year till now, we've made about $2,300 and something, which is not
$2,300 as a revenue.
$2,320. That's what we've made as at from last year till now, because of some of the, like I said, some of the challenges that we were facing. But then we decided to do something about that. We noticed that.
No, I'm just asking a very straightforward question. So you made $2,300 in revenue.
Yes.
For me, that number is not enough to achieve market validation. I'm not talking about small or big. It's really quite insignificant for anybody to actually look at whether your concept truly works or not, and can you truly pull it off. You might want to pull it off, and I understand the emotion, I respect the emotion and your motivation to do it. But as a investor that only looks at money, and I'm afraid that's the only thing I look at, it's not gone to a level which at least entices somebody of my scale and size, even at a seed investment level, to take a gamble on you in terms of understanding that you've got most areas figured out and most areas working. And now you need capital to scale up the business and get more customers so that you can make more transactions. I think you're far away from that right now. Working with 6 or 7 logistics companies and trying to integrate their data to achieve transparency in terms of farm to table will be challenging, because not all these logistics companies are integrated with you or work on platforms that would actually be able to efficiently provide you that data that you're hoping to solve. As far as your payment gateway that you talked about, you've still not gone into wholesale, which means that you're not gone into selling the produce to other African countries where you would need international payment transfer. This is my suggestion, not a question. Take it as a suggestion. Concentrate on Ghana for the time being. Build this ecosystem solid in your local area. Prove this business case, that every aspect of this business case works in a seamless manner, and then think about scaling up and adding things like wholesale that allows you to sell to Nigeria, to Kenya, to South Africa, whichever other country that you want to sell to. These are my suggestions. Take that on board, and I'll hand over to my other colleagues who also might have questions. Thank you.
Well, although I haven't seen your presentation, I have seen this style of presentation, this industry, this company style presented a dozen times, meaning that even in Africa, something that's connecting farmers, to this broader economy and all this. I know Africa, although I'm some random white dude in the middle of America. I was the first person in Founder Institute that accidentally started doing international mentorship. Now I'm involved everywhere in Africa. What I can tell you is, although this is absolutely needed, you're not unique. Okay. And I don't mean to say anything by that, except that, well, the unique points are gone if that's what you're going to ride in on. Okay. So that means we have to have something else that we ride in on. The challenge that you have is that most people don't understand Africa, no matter what. People in Africa oftentimes don't understand Africa. I'm not trying to act like I understand it all the way. But what I do know for certain is that people don't understand it, meaning the market, how penetration works, how everything goes on. So all of the advice that's been given thus far is accurate. The biggest challenge that you have is Africa. Okay. So it's not even about convincing an investor that you have a good investment. There are plenty of people already investing in this particular landscape. Now, Ghana is a unique place in Africa, as we know. I love Ghana. And I see less of this in Ghana. I'll see a lot of it coming out of Nigeria, Imo State, places like that are fairly farm, agricultural type intensive areas. You need to make the case for Ghana. You need to have relationships with Ghana. This entire thing is going to be predicated on relationships. I don't care how good your technology works. I don't care how good your presentation is. I don't care about your team. I do care about all those things. But in reality, relationships are going to be the only way you're getting market adoption. And without people in your platform, and I'm happy that you got more than 1,000. Okay. But I've got a friend of mine with 10,000 Facebook friends and 0 engagement. Okay. So at the end of the day, I need to know that 1,000 matters. Okay. Because it's very easy to accumulate numbers into things in Africa. I probably advise contractually 100 African companies. So that being the case, you need to stand above them as an actual solution to a problem. And one of the things that you're looking at here, there's a different class of investor that's out there. And I don't want to put the typecasting of impact investor because that phrase is often overlooked. But there's an entire class of even American nonprofits that have in their mission, this is something that we are trying to solve. Those are the places that you need to get dollars for this and prove that point. Because the amount of money in America that has to get shifted back to Africa from people that are in diaspora is so vast, and that whole system is broken, that if we can empower people on the ground to solve those problems directly, we literally change the world. It doesn't matter if it's in Ghana. You change the world with a solution in this regards, right? So happy to do office hours, happy to look into more detail. I need to know a lot more, but right now where it stands is I've heard this. It's redundant. That does not mean that you can't solve and make the other redundant things matter that are out there. I believe that it's inside what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great idea. I agree with what my colleagues have already said. For me, I've done actually a lot of work in this space. And one of the things that we found was the supply chain. And we found it because it's not just a supply chain, it's also looking after the produce and the different Some things need refrigerated, some things don't, that kind of thing. So it's really trying to and getting into areas where supply chains are tough, where sometimes they're difficult to get into. I know some of the stuff that we did where some of the products we had to carry in steel, and other parts we had to do in aluminium, for example, in beverages. We've had lots of issues with supply chain in dealing with apps. Doing a similar thing, doing a very similar thing in terms of basically trying to help farmers earn more dollars for their product by going direct to the consumer. And one of the stumbling things that we've seen, because I've been involved in, God, I think it's about 4 or 5 now, has always been the supply chain. That's really where a lot of them have come unstuck. And that's even before we even talk investors. And so it's something that if I was ever to get involved in another one of these, I really want to know a lot more about the supply chain and how you're dealing with all of those issues, and how you're actually going to ensure that the product delivery is going to be in the best possible format. Because I know we've done this. Specifically, we did a lot of work in Queensland, and it was just running up and down the state of Queensland. And then we also did stuff going into various countries in Asia. And some of the countries worked and some of the countries didn't work. And a lot of it really came down to supply chain, but big relationships within the supply chain, because when it does work, and we have examples of when it did work, then we found that people wanted to disrupt the supply chain to actually divert the good quality products and, replace them with something else. So it was became about protecting the supply chain, and relationships was a massive factor in protecting the supply chain as well as developing the supply chain. And, predominantly, most of my work is in beef in that, but we've also done it with fruit and veg, chickens, and a few other bits and pieces, and basically high value products from the farmers as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So when it comes to the supply chain system, we are, because of the way we are working with these individual farmers, there's something that we introduced a few months ago, because something we noticed when it comes to the supply chain. We started introducing what we call the organic grower, where we allow farmers to grow the produce that are being demanded, which by next month we'll be doing our very first wholesale movement to StartBites. So we noticed that some of the farmers bring low quality produce because they've been keeping it for so long. That's some challenges we face. That's why I indicated that we have some challenges. So we introduced the organic grower, where we let these farmers grow a particular crop based on our recommendation or based on our requirements. And once it's ready, we go to the farms, we harvest them, and we take it straight to the consumer who needs them. So as time goes,
So
all of
are
this.
you harvesting them or the farmers harvesting?
Yeah, because we had challenges with some farmers. They harvest the produce and then they pick, like you said, they pick the best part and then they bring in some of the ones that are not very good. So that's some challenges we had, because some produce got to the destination and had issues. So we started to introduce this. So once it's done, we go to the farm regularly. That's why we introduce the remote marketers. So they help us in doing that. So once you start planting, we know that from now to maybe in 2 months' time, it's going to be ready. So once it's getting close to that time, our agents go and inspect the crop process, and then once it's ready, we have our people that come to harvest it. The grower, actually, we fund the grower. This is off books, of our own personal, since we haven't been able to generate more revenue, so we have to do this off the books. So we help them to grow this to maybe per acre, 2 acres, and then we give it to these farmers. So this is the thing. By next month, going to be our first big wholesale to StartBites. So we are excited about that. Yeah, thank you very much for pointing that out.
Yeah, it's a tough getting all those bits right. I know I've done it. It's hard. It's really, really hard.
Very hard.
Yeah, it is. I know we did the same thing, like working with farmers to try and basically back end do the supply chain backwards. And it's tough. And then developing grading systems and working in Australia, we have quite clear grading systems. And then we actually had to do some work on tweaking those grading systems for different international markets and doing different cuts. Like, so I do feel your pain. It's really a tough, it's hard.
Yeah.
The supply chain is the hardest.
Yeah. But right, so we'll solve it. It will be a thing of the past, so we are hopeful.
I'm crossing
really
fingers
hopeful.
because the supply chain is just massive.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Karin.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay. So, Emmanuel, I believe you've gotten some points and feedback that can help you in your journey.
Sure.
So we are very grateful, and be sure to stay in touch.
Sure.
In case if you need any further support or assistance or advice, you can reach out and we'll do all to support you in that regard.
Okay. All
So
right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time, and we are grateful.
Okay,
We stay in
bye.
touch. Bye.
Good luck.
Okay. So we have our next startup from Dubai. Okay. Initially, there was a bit of glitch in the pitch deck upload, so I'm trying to assist him. I'll bring him live. Okay, Mr. Joy, kindly rotate your camera a bit.
I'm gonna start with that's the coolest spelling of the name. I don't know how do you say your name?
My name is Jonathan.
Dude, I'll be honest, if all American versions of that name were spelling that way, we'd be a cooler country. Continue.
That's good. Thank you for the comments. The problem that I'm using my iPad, I think I look like this on the other side. Let me try to do something with the camera.
We assume that you do stand up straight. So thank you.
Well
Appreciate
done.
Is that good?
Yes.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
As long as you don't have to read it all sideways, then we're okay, my friend.
No worries. No worries. I don't have to get the new version.
We see your screen share. The Tessera is on the screen right now.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about this application. We are doing something in the media entertainment area here in Saudi Arabia. I think if during the past few years you have heard that the media entertainment here in Saudi Arabia is booming, and the problem that not that big tech event companies working in that field. So we have took the initiative and working on the ticketing area for the whole thing regarding the football matches, regarding the entertainment, tourism, and culture experience. So what have we done? We have started working on Tessera. Be there together. Tessera is a platform that you can use to buy ticket. Let me tell you a small story about that thing. Fahad, he's a big Hilali fan, and he supported Hilal team, and he's one of my friends. He wanted to attend the final match. The final match ticket price was 30 riyals. It was sold out. He tried to buy it from the black market. He bought it for 970 Saudi riyals, which is way high price. And it took him 3 hours to reach the stadium because of the traffic jam, and he couldn't find the parking. When he reached the gates, he found out that it was a fake ticket. What are we offering now? The problem that next Anand. The problem that here in Saudi Arabia, we don't have a comprehensive platform that can work either for B2B or B2C. The second one, we are offering our solution, which is Tesla. It's a mobile application. It's high ticketing security platform. Many buying options, an app resale. You can resell your ticket inside the application itself. And we are working on event developer site. Next, Anand. What are we going to do? We are going to do the whole journey. We will help you to buy your transportation, either by metro or public transportation, or if you are driving your car, we will help you to start your car at specific time in order to reach on time, okay? Or if you are using share ride platforms. Second, Anand. At the main event, we will offer you your own parking, and we will have small parking in order to have to measure the behavior of the people attending that event, and we will be using smart gates, and we'll be using something called smart seat. Smart gate and smart seat will have advantage by using either QR code readers or NFCs, and those things will help us reduce human capital, and it will give us more security to enter in your seat. Next, Anand. Why now? It's untapped market. People, the companies inside the market is not that big, and only few are working currently. It's a booming entertainment scene and tech-savvy audience, because 90% of Saudi population are having mobiles either by Android or iOS. Next, Anand. Saudi entertainment and sport tourism culture experience market overview. It has reached up to 24 billion total as TAM, and we're looking for a SAM that reached 10 billion, and the sum is 1.5. 1,502 licensed event, 2023, 152 major soccer league matches, 489 tourism experience, 214 culture experience, 32,000 days of events, 121 million spectators and visitors. It's a huge number. We are seeing it. It will be booming more with the major events like it will be major with the coming major event like Asian Cup, Riyadh Expo, and Asian Winter Games, and also we are expecting, inshallah, to have the World Cup here. Next, Anand. This is a competition map. We are talking about booking, security codes. We are talking about gifting ticket, resale of ticket, pre-release ticket, backstage ticket, transportation guidance, organizers platform, and rating statistics. Next, Anand. Our business model is based on two things. Commission-based, we will be working on 5 to 20% of each event, and we are going to have fixed fees for other services, like resale of ticket, backstage ticket, and other things. What are the extra services that we are talking about? It is resale of ticket, pre-release, backstage ticket, parking ticket, monthly and yearly subscription, and B2B extra services as well. Next, Anan. This is our traction. This is our first event in 2023. We have reached 2,314 customers. We have reached 92,560 riyals total income. Clear income for our company is 4,629. Our total revenue was 2,770 riyals. And we are having, and this is our last deal. We have signed the contract. We are expecting 320 per month.
For the interest of the panelists, can you convert this into US dollars, because they don't understand Saudi Riyal, and what does it really mean?
Okay, so Saudi Riyals, it's around $1 to be 3.75.
So what does it mean in US dollars? Your total revenue is less than what, $1,000?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. For in each event, we are talking about this one. Next, Anan. Our evaluation is 2 million. And we are looking for 200,000 as safe or direct investment, up to 4 tickets. We are offering 10% as shares. Next, Anan. This is our roadmap. We are working now on the event developer site. That site will give all the organizers the opportunity in order to change prices, to have feedback on their events, and give them a view on the whole attendance and other thing. And we are working on to reach 15% of the market share expansion by 2025, and the 2024 2025 fourth quarter we're expanding in GCC, Egypt, and Lebanon market, and we are working on our throughway, which is the whole solution at the start of 2026. Next, Anan. This is our team. I'm Jayat and Fahad. I have experience in business development, sales, and marketing. I have 20 years of experience and in banking, telecommunication. I'm part of the Entertainment Leaders Program here in Saudi Arabia. This is Majid Isa. He's my roommate, and he's my co-founder. He worked in the in HR and administration, and he works in Lucent and ExxonMobil. And our CTO is Mohammed Al-Nimr. He has his own IT company, and he's working us from the beginning. We have started in MISC Launchpad, and our accelerator was MVP Lab, and we have attended Techstars Founder Catalyst. Next. And here's our contact.
Great. Thank you, Fahad, for your presentation and taking you through your concept. Just out of curiosity, I'm based in Dubai, so I operate out of Dubai. Did you apply to In5 Tech with your project for a trade license in Dubai?
No, currently we have applied all it in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Amit, the market in Saudi Arabia is booming.
Look, I'm
huge booming.
Every week I spend 2 days in Riyadh, so I understand what you're talking about. So here's my questions to you. You're obviously competing in a space where you've got, Grinta, Javed, T-Combo, and some of these very large players operating in the market. Now, my biggest problem with models like yours is it's a cash guzzling model, and I'll explain you why. Because the whole thing depends on customer acquisition. More the customers, more the revenue. And to acquire customers and drive them to your platform for the business to become extremely attractive and viable for serial investors, it's burning through a lot of capital, number one. Not just your business, anything that has a similar model to yours. Number two, in the times that we are living, the entire global VC space is slowing down drastically. There needs to be enough market validation. That means achieving $1,000 of revenue is not attractive. I understand where you want to go with it and what the potential might be, but it is yet to be displayed whether you can do that. So $1,000 is not going to be attractive for a serious VC or a serious level angel investor to come in, and take that kind of a risk and punt that you are the guys that can take this concept to the level and attract customers from other platform to your platform. So that's a huge challenge in the kind of burn rates that you guys have just in the name of customer acquisition, because it's a very customer-centric platform. Number three, the services that you talked about that are your unique selling points, that you're also going to offer parking, that you're also going to offer other things. I personally feel that you're trying to do too much. As an aggregation platform that is venturing out into ticket sales, into entertainment, into tourism, into public infrastructure like parking and things like that, the amount of stakeholders that you would have to integrate your platform with, and the amount of stakeholder management and customer management you'll have to do. I don't know the backbone of your technology architecture and the backbone of your team to be able to handle that kind of a volume and the money that you'll need to raise to be able to justify something. In the current economic climate, number one, I don't find, this is my personal opinion, of course, absolutely personally, I don't find the concept very unique. I see certain aggregation models coming up that you're trying to combine the likes of Tiki-Tech, the likes of Ticombo, Grinta, the likes of maybe Lonely Planet, and some of these platforms, and give a holistic service area to your customers in Saudi. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done, don't get me wrong, absolutely it can be done. But the kind of money that one needs to invest in a project like this to be able to pull customers from independent platforms to your platform and market, I personally feel that it's going to be a big ask and quite tough in the current economic climate that the world is in. Saudi is slowing down greatly. Like I said, I spend 2 days a week. I work very closely with an institution called PIF, which is the Public Investment Fund in Saudi. So I have a very good understanding of what's happening on the ground there with NEOM and all of that kind of showing signs of slowdown. So look, just take this feedback. I would actually choose one of those areas and build a MVP which is attractive enough before I venture out into 100 other experiences and just make it quite content heavy without having the infrastructure, capital, and the human manpower to be able to pull that off. That's my suggestions to you. I'd hand it over to my other colleagues if they have questions for you. Thank you, Fahad.
Can I reply?
Sure.
Second. Regarding Grinta Hub is working only on one area, which is reselling the ticket. Okay, and the Grinta Hub is finding difficulties currently with GEA and with our sport, with other sport clubs. That's one thing. And the other thing, here in Saudi Arabia, it's only one major player, which is WeBook. WeBook is having a large acquisition on the market. But as part of the GEA Leaders Program, we have been promised that only WeBook will have that opportunity as part of the taking the torch only, which is after a while, we're talking about only months. Most of the market has to be done based on competition.
Yeah, where I'm coming from, Fahad, is the concept of if any one of these operators that are your biggest competitors want to resell tickets they can always apply for that license because they've got the customers, they've got the traction, people already know of them, and they can literally wipe you out of the market overnight. If they feel that this is something that they will gain out of, it is overnight for them. They have the customers, they have the traction, they have the money, they have the numbers. So I would be quite hesitant taking a risk as an investor, knowing that could be a very big possibility that would happen. Before I get to the numbers,
Amit, what do we mean that we are not selling ticket? We are buying you time.
And I understand what you're buying. I'm just saying that your competitors can do it better, faster, bigger, because they've got everything that you don't have. That's all that the point I'm making.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I kind of got confused there because it was like you were trying to give a home through to seat experience for your client. And that's what you sold me in the beginning. And then later in your presentation, you were really selling the ticket, like the ticket and the parking and what have you. And the reason I asked this because when you were essentially selling me that the person going from home through to their seat, and they were going through a smart gate, and I'm thinking, well, who's paying for the smart gate? Who's installing the smart gate? And when you're dealing with the seat, who's paying for these smart seats? Who's putting these smart seats in the stadiums? And then you sort of stopped talking about that, and you started talking about the transportation plus the ticket. And I'm like, okay, is this like an integrated WeChat that goes with, we can actually, which follows you in the experience, where you can get some of that with that particular app? Is it, that plus a ticketing experience? And I was trying to understand what it was that you were actually selling, or was it, step by step? And it felt like there was too many bells and whistles, and I really wanted to see a focus and a really clear understanding of what it was that you're trying to sell.
Dr. Karen, currently, if you attended any event, if you, let's talk about football games or soccer games.
Yeah.
If you attended at the stadium, if you sit on your seat and you get up, going to the bathroom, or going to buy anything, people will come and sit in your seat. Okay, so we are giving you a smart seat that only opened with your ticket, and we will be doing the smart seat. We are talking to companies in order to do those seats. We will install the seats. We will raise up the ticket fees in order to get the income on them during the first 3 years. After that, we will cover the expenses of the seat. That one thing. In order to have the smart gates will help us only in order to reduce the people that the human capital in our company in order to enter people inside the stadium. So you will use your ticket to enter. You will use your ticket in order to reach your seat. What we are working currently now, if we get the smart seat, as soon as you get to your seat, okay, we will have the information that seat has been occupied. So we are working on a future agreements with other restaurants, with other things, to have your order ready. As soon as you reach your seat, your order will come to your seat.
Like what happens in Disneyland. Disneyland do that.
Pretty much.
Yes, we are working on a full customer experience. We need to give them an imaginable customer experience in order to to stay in your seat as much as possible to attend that event and be comfortable about it.
Are you going to spend money on installing the smart technology in terms of gates?
We will spend money on that at the beginning, and we will have the smart gates cost around $1,000. Okay, as per if you are installing one gate, but we can get it for around $800 per gate. And for the smart seat, we are working currently with a company in Germany in order to have those seats and start testing them. Regarding the parking, what are we thinking about the parking? You will buy your ticket from our application. As soon as you reach the parking, you can use our application to open that parking slot, and you can enter your car. So we will give you the whole experience, your parking, your gate, your seat. It's all yours during the events only.
I understand. My only concern is who's going to come up with the capital to be able to do this in a stadium. If you in a stadium, you've got 10,000 seats. How many out of those seats are you going to install with obviously collaboration with the stadium? And who's going to pay up for it?
Currently, we are working with GEA to get their approval to take around 1,000 seats to start working on them. Okay, inside Kingdom Arena, we will work on them. We will have the full journey about it. We will test it. If you have anything about it, we will start again in order to solve any issues. That's one thing. If we succeed in that part, okay, we will have all. We are working to get as much as 30% of each stadium to be smart seat and smart gates.
My suggestion to you, my friend, this is just a suggestion. A better business model rather than doing this is going to those stadiums, selling them the smart solutions, making their life easy and making crazy amount of money doing that, mate. It's like saying that I can install smart gates in the stadium, I can install smart parking in the stadium, and I can install smart seats across the stadium so that all your ticket sales can now be digital and operated through an app so that no reselling goes on, no black marketing goes on, no fake ticket goes on. And that way, as an integrator and a vendor to a stadium, you'd probably make more money than trying to attract customers on your platform and then monetize that eventually. That is my
I'm not sure how expensive it is to even put one of the, like what you said in your, to the answer that he gave, you basically drew attention to a pilot, right? It's 1,000 seat potential pilot, but there's no I mean, it took like layers of questions to get down to that. That's like one of the marquee things in your presentation, even if it's not 100% confirmed yet. I mean, I'm an American politician. Trust me, I can find a way to say it, right? And make it okay. But that is huge. And then I would also want to understand how the technology works, right? So I'm sure you put a lot of energy in this in terms of developing what it's like that makes the seat, secure. So is it a physical seat that needs to be replaced? Are we putting a near field communication tag on the seat or something of that nature to accommodate this? How does that work?
No, those seats will be manufactured, and we have a tag inside that seat that can work on NFC or work on QR code.
Got it. But let me pause you right there. Are there seats already in the stadium?
No.
So there's 0 seats. The stadiums do not have seats in them, correct?
No. All the stadium have seats.
Then pause right there. You are taking the most expensive route to get there by replacing the seats. Can't I just take your tag that's inside the seats and glue it to the back of the existing seats and prove this concept? Why?
You cannot.
I can get a team of nerds from MIT to make that happen tomorrow, if that's what you're saying you have. So why can't you do that? Because that's the differentiator.
The current seat are only plastic regular seats. So they don't have they are not connected to electricity or not connected.
Why do you need electricity? I can walk around with a phone and map every tag that's in a place without electricity. because
Yeah.
the tags
Yeah,
are passive. In America, you can go to an Amazon store, grab your products, walk out, they charge you and everything. Those products aren't connected to electricity. You know, I'm just
Yeah,
giving
Chris,
some perspective here.
Yeah.
The current seat, we can work on it, but we have to change it. We have to change the lock on them. You know what I mean? The lock for the seat.
So you're trying to physically prevent the seat from coming down or something of this nature.
Yes.
See,
yes.
for me, I love that. Don't get me wrong. But you can still prove the concept of this brand without that. I understand people come and take your seat. See, here in America, why that doesn't happen is because we all have a tag with an assigned seat number, and an usher will come down and kick them out and all that stuff. Perhaps that doesn't exist there. But the simple fact of the matter is, already just by having an NFC tag or infrared, or pardon, any of the other type of technologies that are passive energy, just by having that, you can validate if a human is in the right seat, right? So like if I'm a vendor for food, and I'm coming down and somebody ordered food in the seat, the first thing I'm going to do is validate that they have that seat. But because their tag does not have the same NFC tag as the seat, we know that they're in an invalid place. They don't belong there. I'm not serving them food. They get none of that. So, I mean, there's plenty of ways to do this. I love the idea that the locking of the seats, but how I would frame this, just to not make it the most expensive possible thing for a stadium to think about, is I would pick a part of the stadium, not indiscriminately, discriminately. So the VIP section, the best seats, the special area, where people already are spending more money for those seats. Because if that's the case, I'd be willing to bet we can probably convince the stadium to pay for those seats, the physical seats, versus you.
Not actually, what are we working on it? We are not.
We wouldn't know that as a person that just sat through your presentation. So that's what I'm trying to get at here. You have what we call a lot of hidden gems, right? I'm going to send you a link. I'll get your email address, and I want you to fill out this form. I would be willing to say 80% of the best gems in your presentation are not in your presentation yet. And this is common. So don't feel offended or don't take offense to that. I don't mean it that way. It's very common. You know, and if it wasn't for us asking all these questions, we wouldn't know to be able to tell you, boy, that's a gem, etc. So this process
I think Fahad, this is a fantastic comment by Chris. What you should be doing is doing a rev share, as a partnership with the stadiums, where if you could come up with a model that, okay, I'll pay for the seats, of the stadium pays for the seat, I'll pay for the tech, and let's share the revenue based on who's investing what. That way, I think you've got a bigger mass adoption going.
What are we working currently? We will go around the current ticket provider. What are we going to do? As soon as we start, we will target the whole venues in order to have their data being entered in our website, in order to have easy access for each ticket sales, in order to have all the data with us.
I understand that. So my concern is, how are you going to convince the stadiums to pay for this technology? Because if you have to raise capital to pay for this, it's going to be quite a bit of capital, mate.
Amit, what are we going to do? The existing seats, we will take that part and we are going to work on it in order to give them better experience. And those people who are paying more extra, we will have that chance in order to give them extra benefits on the ticket.
So I would have those people pay too as another option, right?
Yeah,
like in Chicago, the season ticket holders pay for the expensive seat upgrades all day.
Yeah.
And how much time would you take to recover the cost of one seat?
It will take us around 13 months.
Okay, so park there, full stop there. 13 months to recover the cost of the putting one smart seat, right?
Yes.
So my question to you is, if you need to implement 10,000 smart seats, just example, or 1,000 smart seats, where is that initial capital expenditure, which we call CapEx, that I'm sure you know, where is that money going to come from? You will recover that later. But initially, who's putting that money in to give it to you to put all this?
Let me tell you, Amit, as soon as we start, we have an agreement with GEA. If that concept is working good, we will have around 10,000 seats of each stadium, and they will pay for it. Instead of if we gonna pay for it, they will pay for it from their side in order, because currently we are having eight stadium are being built right now in Saudi Arabia for World Cup. So if that concept is working fine, they will implement the idea and will have it in the stadium, and you are not going to pay for it.
And can you convince the stadium to have a contract that they'll pay for it if you prove them a pilot project?
The problem that we have to give them proof of concept of the idea on that thing before signing anything.
Okay, and what is the proof of concept? How much of the proof of concept do they need from you?
We will start with 200, as I've told you. The 200 will help us in doing the upgrades of our application and adopt the one smart seat parking, one parking lot, and we are working on 10 seats only. After that, if we have a proof of concept of that, we will extend it to 1,000 seats and like that.
I'll ask you something very, very clearly. To get a contract for a stadium that's got 20,000, 30,000 seats, you are comfortable with doing 200 seats. That means the seat, that means the parking, and that means the smart gate, all these key technologies that you pay for. What's the cost going to be for all of this for a pilot project?
The cost will be around $20,000. So no, it's around $7,000.
For how many seats and how many parking and how many smart gates?
We are talking about one smart gate, one smart gate, and 10 seats.
And 10 seats, one smart gate. And what about the parking?
The parking costs nothing.
Okay.
It's less than $100.
So if you spend, how much do you have to spend to be able to prove to the stadium that they should spend on 10,000 seats? How much money do you have to spend to achieve that?
It's almost, as I've told you, $20,000.
$20,000.
Sorry, 20,000 riyals. It's around
That's for 10 seats.
Yes.
And
so $20,000 for 10 seats.
No.
$7,000.
It is 20,000 riyals. It's around $7,000.
Which is nothing, mate. You can spend that money yourself.
Yeah, I can spend that money myself. But what we're offering people to have to enter. It's around 5,000. Yeah.
So if you spend 5,000 and get this validation, you can get the whole stadium paying for it. Why do you need to raise capital?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. And we are working on it, by the way, Ahmed. We are having, we are doing upgrades in our system right now. And we are doing that thing. But if we have any investment, that will help us to do that fasting.
No, but I mean, why do you need investment? $5,000 is not much money.
He also needs a yes from the stadium.
That's what my second question is.
Yeah.
Who's got the relationship in your team that will score the 6 new stadiums that are getting built, the entire automation of that? Who has those relationships among your co-founders?
I have the relationship myself. Amit, let me tell you something. I'm part of the Entertainment Leaders Program. That program is a huge program here in Saudi Arabia. And that program is being done by GA, which is General Entertainment Authority. We are almost around 30 leaders. We are working on the entertainment ecosystem here in Saudi Arabia. We are working in many parts, okay? And I have a good connection with GEA regarding that. I gave them the idea as part of the that idea of the smart solution, and they are very satisfied with it. And we are expecting to be funded from their side. If it's being done, if it's being funded from their side, we are not going to spend any real on that project, okay, to start on it. But if not, we are going to go for the extra mile and have investors with us and do it from our side. We are talking about a lot of experience here in Saudi Arabia. We're not talking about only that part of the solution that we are offering. A lot of things are not being done. As a pre-release ticket, backstage ticket are not available here in Saudi Arabia, by the way. Also, we are talking about having agreements with other FMC providers inside the stadium to sign agreement with us. As soon as you sit in your seat, your order will come to your seat, and we will get benefit from that as well.
And I'll give you my opinion. It all sounds terrific. It sounds amazing. It sounds actually too good to be true, because the amount of stakeholders that you would need to influence to make this happen at a large scale. I understand. I've been doing business with both Saudi Arabia and the UAE for 14 years now. I've done some massive contracts, and I understand how Saudi Arabia works. Like I said, I spend 2 days every week in Riyadh. I'm just kind of, okay, let me give you a straight deal, no bullshit, straight on. You give me LOIs, letter of intents from these stadium owners and these FMCs that on this concept validation, we are ready to move with X amount of infrastructure and X amount of seats that we'll automize through you and smart gates and everything that you're talking about. I'll fund it in an independent capacity. I don't even need to put my hands in my fund.
Okay.
Yeah. But I need assurances, and I will obviously validate those letter of intents because I'm connected myself in Saudi Arabia.
Sure.
That I find as a huge challenge. It kind of sounds like a great vision, and I am with you. It is a great thing that you're doing, but it's too much stakeholders.
Can I give you my counter offer?
Yeah.
Okay. If I bring you the letter of intent,
yeah,
from GA,
yeah,
okay, for 10% of the company, you will give us $400K.
No, of course not. I will give you $4 million if you bring me the letter of intent that you're going to do 70 to 700,000 seats for all the 6 stadiums coming up. I'll fund the whole project myself.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Sure.
Yeah.
As soon as I get the letter, I will contact Anan, and I will send it.
Yeah, please show me the letter of intent from all these 7 stadiums that are coming up, that are gearing for the World Cup.
No, the letter of intent, I'll bring it from GEA because they own most of the. GEA owns Kingdom Arena, which is Al Hilal Stadium, Al Hilal Team Stadium. Okay, and we are working with them in order to do our proof of concept there.
Okay? I'll tell you something. You first do your proof of concept.
For the other stadiums.
First, you go through the proof of concept. You go through the proof of concept, see how that works. If that works well, you come back to me. We'll do a public-private deal where I will fund this whole thing across Saudi Arabia. And I'm willing to, because I know the potential of what this is possible and what this could be done just by automizing these seats itself. And then we will talk at that stage once your pilot project is successful and they're willing to move on a mass scale with you. You don't need to worry about how to get the funds. I'll arrange for it.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, that's all the questions that I have.
That's good. Anything else? Dr. Karen, Mr. Chris?
No, I'm good. Thank you. I really appreciate your presentation. I think it inspired a lot of conversation here.
I agree.
Kindly, Anand, if you don't mind to share my email with Mr. Chris in order to have his view on the presentation and the gems in the project. If you don't mind.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, for drawing attention to that. I'll make sure I get you that. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day, guys.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So, okay. So, let me. Mr. Fahad, thanks very much for your time, and we are very grateful. And we do well to stay in touch, as promised by Mr. Amit. If you have any further questions or any contribution later, you can reach out to me. I'll connect to you and everything. So please do.
Thank you very much.
Do the work they assign you to do. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Bye.
Okay. Okay, so that's pretty intense. Yeah. So this the startups that the startup we can accommodate for now. We had a list of a lot of startups, but the panel need to rest. Yeah. So all that we say is big thank you. So the list was a lot. Yeah. And a lot of contributions, a lot of innovations. It's the final ways.
You know, Anand, what would really help is if you give them a template to present, especially when they are presenting currency. They're all speaking in their own country currency, and that becomes very difficult for people who are not quite used to those currencies to understand in US dollars what are they really talking about. Mm-hmm. Like when somebody hears $1,000 of market validation, that's like, really, you can't get a laptop for that money today. Yeah. So, I mean, it's those things.
Yeah, and it's not just dollars either. When they're talking about lakhs and when they're grouping things into different scenarios, it's not just a currency thing. It's the accumulation of numbers, which is different in other countries as well.
Right. So that would be really helpful.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of how much less efficient we are in America because we don't have these groupings like other countries in India have, right? that make us more efficient. I appreciate they exist.
Sure.
Okay. So from next year, the interest is growing. So I'll be setting up an organization around StartupsExpo. So I'll be sending an invite. So I can bring a lot of people on board. I can't handle everything. Yeah. So yeah.
Super.
Yeah. So others.
Great.
Yeah. So I'll bring in invites to you so that you can form an organization around it and take it to the next level. It has huge potential, and I believe we can do more. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So all that says, thanks very much for your support, your time, and everything. And all that I say is God bless you, and I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
it.
Thank
you.
Yes. Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. This brings us to the end of the 2024 edition of StartupsExpo. Today was pretty intense. And thanks for sticking with us. And we are grateful. We are going to set up the 2025 edition of StartupsExpo from today. So I'll be setting up the 2025 edition of StartupsExpo. We are going to grow from now till next year. We are going to build a lot of momentum for the 2025 edition of StartupsExpo. If you supported us, if you joined us, if you watch us, no matter where you are around the world, all that we're saying is thanks for your time. We are very grateful. Big thank you to all the speakers, the moderators, everyone who supported this edition of StartupsExpo. We are very grateful. we are going to set up an organization around around Startup Expo. That will be startupexpo.org. There is going to be an organization around Startup Expo that will handle everything. The vision is to take this to hybrid format that we can organize in-person editions across every continent around the world. Startup Expo is going to be big. So we are going to send out invites to our speakers, supporters, so that together we can support startups around the world. And all that we say is thank you and bye-bye till we meet next year for the 2025 edition of Startup Expo. Thanks very much for your time, and we say goodbye. See you 2025. Bye.